Yo, what up, everybody? Guys, welcome back again. It's a beautiful, beautiful, amazing day. And man, I'm just glad to be here. I'm a little bit late. We're supposed to start at 9 p.m., but I set today for 9:30 because some of you might know that, my mom has been sick. So I actually came to my hometown today. I'm here with my mom, and I just got here in the evening, and we just need to have a family dinner, and I had to rush to start this live stream. But I'm glad I'm at peace now after seeing my mom face to face. She's recovering, so I want to thank everybody that has been praying for that. For those who knew, I appreciate you guys. My mom, she's getting better. If you want to see, I uploaded a short clip on my Instagram story. You can go and see there. It's gonna be there for 24 hours, so you can enjoy. And if you hear a little bit of noise, it's because there are kids here in the house. My sister's kids. My sister has 4 kids, so they're here. They're making a lot of noise, but that's a blessing. It's a blessing. So it's good to be back to be with my family. I'm gonna be here. For possibly one day, and then I'll be moving ahead, leaving. But yes, it's good to be back. We're here, guys, to continue with the topic. I know that today we're supposed to talk about something else. We already planned and we already scheduled to have different session about our African brothers and sisters who are kept in prison in Saudi Arabia. But I asked yesterday that I think we can postpone a little bit forward so that we may finish the topic, the discussion that we started yesterday. So without wasting time, I'm just going to raise a word of prayer, and then we'll go ahead, we'll start. Whatever religion you're coming from, whatever you believe in, you can have this moment to pray, because we want to have an amazing conversation. Yesterday we had a great conversation, right? It was an amazing conversation. Today we're gonna have the same thing as well. So let me just pray a little quick before we start. God, I thank you for today. Thank you for 44 people who are joining here today. I thank you that we are coming here from all backgrounds, from all nations, to talk, to discuss about the fate of Africa, the fate of Somalia. So I pray that you give us wisdom, you give us understanding, and you'll help us, God, to reach where we're supposed to be. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Guys, I appreciate you guys for being here. Let me just say this, guys. Yesterday, we had an amazing conversation. Our conversation yesterday, it was amazing. It was great. It was incredible. So I want to tell you guys this. All right. We have 41 people right here watching right now. Please go and invite somebody. Tell somebody to come here. All right. Tell somebody to come. Let them come. Let them join. All right. Share this link with somebody, because I'm going to jump today right away. We're just going to start right away to discuss, because we have a lot to talk about. And again, as I told you guys, I'm here with my family, so I'm going to manage the time. The longest we might go, it might be 2 hours. So please, I'm going to open the room for you guys to come. But first and foremost, I'm just going to do like yesterday. I want to have Somali speakers first. Somali speakers. Because we started an amazing conversation yesterday about what's going on in Somalia. And today we are elevating it. We're taking it into the new level. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about what is the role of diaspora? What is the role of Somali diaspora? What is the role of Africans out there with what's going on right now in Somalia? And what Somali people can they do? What are they going to do at this moment? And I want our discussion today to focus on the inside. We have issues, we have things that we are dealing with, we have things that they brought us where we are here today. So I want us to deal with those issues today, to have conversation about that. The simple rules that you have to know, we are not taking sides. All right. I don't want us to take sides. I don't want you guys, some of you, even if you have your preference, but I want I want to remind you guys that please don't take side here, because there might be people who support this side and people who support that side. And when we start doing that, we are creating division. So I want us to have a conversation like the one we had yesterday, the conversation that is unique, the conversation that is putting Somali people first, the people of Somali, people who are going through difficulties right now, right? I want us to put them first, to think about them first. forget about politics, forget about politicians, but let's talk about the people and how much people are going to be affected if anything will go wrong. You know what I'm saying? That's why we're gonna have conversation today. So I believe you guys are already there. You know, I had some friends here yesterday who came and share here. So I'm just gonna share the link again right now. And I want to remind you guys that first and foremost, I want to have Somali people, speakers, to speak first, because I want them to speak. For a long time, we didn't have people from that side, but I want them to speak. I want them to come and to raise their voice. And remember the topic again, right? Yesterday we were talking about what is happening in Somalia. All right. But today we want to talk about the role of Somali diaspora and the role of Africans in general with what's going on right now. What can we do? What shall we do about this, right? And also people in Somalia. If you have an advice, if you have anything that you want to talk to people of Somali, then what is your advice? What are you telling your own people? All right. That's very important. I'm going to share the link here, and I hope I will get guys, again, I want to have Somali people first, all right? And then I'll open the room for you guys to come and to join as well from different places. I'll open the room a little bit later, but I want them to speak first because they are aware of what's going on there. And also want to appreciate those members, and if I have people here in the room who wants to join and become a members of our platform, please, the link is in the comment section. Go and you can join and become a member of this place. It will be amazing. I'm going to attach that link all the way to the top so that it may be easy to access. And also, if you're blessed, if you want to support us, feel free, guys, to use super chat and super stickers. We need that. We are doing, live stream. So whenever you do that, you actually support the work that I am doing, the work that we are doing here. So I appreciate it. All right. I already have my two guests here already. Same and Awa. Okay, Same was here first. Let me put him here. Hey, Same. It's good to have you back.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me back. And good to see that Awa is back for tonight as well.
Yeah.
And first of all, I just want to say I'm sorry to hear about your mother. I hope she recovers soon, man.
Oh, yeah. She's getting better. I thank God that she's doing better now. She's getting better. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Awa, it's good to have you back as well.
Oh, thank you. Nice seeing everyone again.
I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering, like, oh, it's already 9 p.m. East African time. Why he's not starting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to change a little bit to 9:30. As I explained before. But anyway, it's good to have you guys. Well, Same, you can just dive in, man. We were here yesterday. We had an amazing conversation, and you all know what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to give you a chance to go to speak as much as you can. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Micah. So, yeah, I mean, the question that you mentioned, and we're speaking about on WhatsApp earlier as well, obviously the role that the diaspora have got to play. Obviously, diaspora people have been playing a massive role towards Somalia ever since the civil war broke out, ever since a lot of Somalis left the country and went abroad. One of the things, obviously, sending money back, remittance, and that's been a lifeline for a lot of people back home. But that also helped, people invest in local businesses in the private sector. One example I can give you is the telecom industry in Somalia, the internet, for example. Somalia is considered to have the cheapest mobile data in the whole of Africa, and the 7th most affordable in the world. And, again, that's with the help of the private sector. A lot of people going back or sending money back there in order to, improve their country. So the diaspora people, in short, have played a massive role, and they could even play a bigger role. There is a famous saying that a lot of Somali people know, which in Somali, if I can say, which means so which means every country is built by its own people. That is resonating with a lot of people. So whether people have to go back home, whether people can send money or other means in order to improve their country. A lot of the current politicians as well in Somalia, there are people that have moved, that have been from diaspora that went back to the country. These are people that are holding foreign passports as well. So, Yeah, that's the link I shared. Thank you for showing that. So basically, the diaspora people can play they have played a good role, but it also is double-edged sword as well. Unfortunately, there are people that are holding passport from those host nations, and when they go back to Somalia, they have become effectively subjects for those countries, where basically they do the bidding for those countries. One of them being the former prime minister that got removed, Hassan Ali Khaira. He was holding a Norwegian passport. President Formaggio, when he was appointed, one of the things he promised, which we talked about yesterday, was he wanted to bring one person, one vote. And one of the mandates for that Prime Minister Khaira was to deliver that. He didn't deliver it. He, in fact, undermined it. And that was effectively the reason he was removed by the parliament. So the current President Formaggio and also Prime Minister Roble, they are also two people that have come from diaspora. One of them President comes from America, and Roble comes from, I think, Sweden, one of the European countries. So people from diaspora, I would encourage them to go back, invest in the country, be it part of the political discourse, invest in the private sector. They could play a massive role in it, and it's very important for people to be aware of that. So I'm just reading some of my notes that I've made. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what I want to say. I'm sure Awa can add some more points to this.
Yeah, I think the diaspora has played a significant role. I mean, they've invested heavily on the school system, the K-12 system, and also like the university systems as well. They also heavily invested in like businesses and very brought up the economy really quickly. So there are like a lot of diaspora people who are investing in the country. When it comes to the political side, I think we need, obviously we need to rectify the current constitution, make sure that whoever is running for a seat in government has to, if they're from the diaspora, they have to return their citizenship of whatever country they're coming from, because that's, like what Sama said, that's going to be a conflict of interest. And one of the things that the people in Somalia support the current president is because he's from the United States. He grew up in the United States, but right when he became president, he returned his passport, his U.S. passport. So that is what we want all politicians, if they're from the diaspora, to emulate. We're not gonna, welcome anybody who is carrying a foreign passport and then they want to join the government. It's not going to happen in the future. So that's one thing that the diaspora will actively advocate for. Because if you are carrying a foreign passport and you go into the government, then you're going to have obviously conflict of interest. There could be things that these governments can pressure you to do that is not in the interest of the Somali people. So that's something we have to be very aware of and very conscious of, and not welcome anybody in the government who has these passports. And so that's one of the reasons we fully support the current president, is his willingness to give up his passport and work for the interest of the Somali people.
Which is a big thing, because, I mean, when he did that, it was seen, honestly, quite a big thing by a lot of Somalis. I mean, this is someone that's saying, look, I have the privilege to carry American passport, but I'm going back to my country and I'm pretty much relinquishing that. And, saying, look, I'm one of you guys now, I'm in it for the long run. And that is a quite a big thing. So it's very important to point that out. And another point I want to say as well, I mean, right now we are seeing, like, especially since the last few days, the role that diaspora people are playing in, but basically raising their voices, through social media, creating hashtag petitions, trying to also contact a lot of the international media. One of the issues I highlighted yesterday as well is that we feel like we don't have voice. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about Somalia, but they don't talk about the actual things that are important, things that are happening. All they want to do is a cash cow for them to keep painting Somalia in an extremely negative way. Oh, look, it's a failed state, all that kind of stuff. They will never invite someone that is either knowledgeable or knows Somalia, or actually lives in Somalia. Prime example being Al Jazeera. This is a channel that a lot of Somalis, or a lot of people watch. I'm sure you heard about it, Micah, Al Jazeera English, and they keep inviting British and Canadian people, people that have no knowledge of Somalia, and these people all they want to do is paint picture of look how basically hopeless this country and these people are. But all if
and
they
that's the narrative
engage
they're
Somali,
gonna push. That's, you know,
yeah,
these countries and these like every country, like if you look at their media, they have a certain, you know, lens, right? They have a certain bias, and they are always gonna, you know, push their country's policy, right? So there's no media that's 100% unbiased. There's just absolutely not any media, and especially when it comes to like the African continent, they have to push this narrative that these countries are failing, because even though, you know, there's all these direct interventions and like drone strikes and all of these wars that are happening, like, hello, of course they're not gonna, you know, the people are suffering because of these interventions. What do you expect them to be like, you know? So, you know, there is always going to be this perpetual narrative, and I think it's upon us to create alternative media platforms to kind of engage with the rest of the world, and engage with you know, countries and people that are interested in humanity and who are interested in you know, looking at all these countries from a different lens, and looking at, you know, the richness, the culture, you know. Yeah, Somalia has been going through all this stuff for 30 years, but if you go to Somalia, you'll be amazed at how many people have businesses, how many people are going to school, you know, going by their day-to-day life. You would never expect that. But when you see these channels, you'll see them taking pictures of like these militants who have like, you know, little locations in the country, but then 90% of the country is pretty peaceful, right?
yeah.
So you'll have all these narratives going on. So we have to be very cognizant about who we give our support to and who we invite to our countries.
Yeah, and Micah,
I also wanted to add, there's like all these groups called, like, for example, a Sahan group. I don't know if you heard of them, Summit, but they're,
yes, I know,
and the Crisis International,
Crisis
or whatever
group.
they call themselves, Crisis group. So yeah, these people are like very much connected to, you know, the CIAs of the world, and they want to continue feeding these international companies these information.
So the group that Awa mentioned, that's the group I was alluding to earlier when I said Al Jazeera keep inviting these people. I didn't want to give them the platform to say their name, but, you know, I guess it's also worth pointing them out. So yeah, I mean, so Sahan group effectively is being run by a guy carrying a Canadian, British, South Africa, I don't know, so many different passports. There's allegation out there that he's actually a spy. He runs the organization, and apparently he's a subject matter expert in Somali related stuff. I mean, this guy is actually a convicted criminal. He's actually, a court is awaiting him in Somalia, where he's been, you know, he used to go there and, you know, he tried to undermine the government of Somalia. So this is the kind of person that Al Jazeera and other news organizations keep calling in order to talk about Somalia. It really is quite baffling, to be honest with you. Then you've got other groups, the International Crisis Group. That's another one that Al Jazeera keeps inviting. The other issue that we've talked about earlier, that Somalis that are carrying foreign passports, there are groups also, for example, they're called Heritage Institution. They're like a think tank. And these are groups, Somali people, but they're being funded by the European Union. The European Union gave them 2 years, 2019, $2 million. And you got to wonder why. All they're doing, again, is push a narrative that Somalia needs to be divided. There's no hope for ever to come back. And they keep holding these sort of events and conferences. So, unfortunately, the issue that Awa mentioned, which is the conflict of interest, is when you have Somali people that are carrying these foreign passports, who are then being used to turn against the Somali people, against the interest of the people, then you have a massive problem. How are you going to tackle it? So yes, diaspora have been playing a massive role, mostly good, but there's also a problem that we also need to be aware of and talk about. And this is the issue that I wanted to highlight. But in a nutshell, I do want to stress that Awa mentioned as well. I mean, we all have families back home. We talk to them regularly. You know, there are people that, you know, they see development. They just want to get on with their life. And these things, you know, Somalia has honestly improved massively. If you just compare 10 years ago to how it is right now, the capital city, Mogadishu, for example, you'd be honestly astonished. You wouldn't recognize the city. There's always building up, new buildings coming up, new businesses. The other day I saw someone that from the diaspora move back there and, setting up some sort of a dental care, just, teeth whitening business, for example. It's a small example, but I'm just saying this is the sort of ideas that diaspora can play in. We have highly educated diaspora people in the West, people that have business mind, that all they want to do is go back there and improve their country and live a dignified life over there. But would the Western bloc, the Arab bloc, would they allow us to rebuild our country? And that's the question.
Warsame, I have to interject and say that it's, like the Somali people are very resilient, and this is not the first time, all these foreign countries have invaded our country. We have historical data of all these countries invading us since, Darwish time, and since, the Portuguese and all these countries, right? So I think the issue is, how do we create alliances with our African brothers and sisters throughout Africa, and also our alliances with other countries that we share interests, and then rebuild, currently Somalia is rebuilding their army.
Yeah. I mean,
that will be my next question, actually, because the first one was, what is the role of Somali diaspora in what is going on right now? So that, because I believe we have a lot of Somali people here are watching, and maybe they will watch later, so that they may, if there's a thing to organize, if there's something to do, then we can do that. But the second question I wanted to ask everybody, what is the role of Africa? Africans, like right now, you as I can ask this to you guys as a Somali people. What do you think the rest of African brothers and sisters should do, right now? What do you think? What would be your suggestions? And I know I will invite them as well to come to join and maybe to share their opinion, like what they can do in what's going on right now.
So Africa, and more specifically the regional neighboring countries, they have a massive role to play, and they have played a massive role in the past, and they could still play a massive role, positive role towards Somalia. One of the things that we first need to ask is, please stop interfering in our internal affairs. That is honestly one of the biggest thing that African countries can do for us. Let us solve our problem. Number two, we need to talk about business. We need to talk about development. One of the issues Africa, and this is a problem whole of Africa as well, countries need to come together. They need to set up a trade, maybe do some sort of East African trade zone, without visa, so people can come across and, travel a borderless sort of alliance between these countries. These are the things that we need to look forward to. But the number one immediate issue that a lot of Somalis have is, let us solve our own issues. Stop the internal affairs interference within Somalia, and then after that, once Somali sort of restores, Somalia could be a massive potential and an ally towards Africa and East Africa. We have a history since our independence. We have, we helped, for example, South Africa fight the apartheid state. We helped Zimbabwe with their fight, against the colonials at that time. So, Somalia is a country, people that understand what Pan-Africanism means. So, help us restore our country. But more importantly, please don't interfere in our internal affairs. We are willing to solve this issue ourselves.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I will say again, yeah, go on.
Maybe I can ask the follow-up question. So in this case, you say, so you feel like for everything that has been happening, you feel like there's a lot of how can I say, neighboring countries that have been trying to interfere in what's going on inside. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yes. This is pretty evident. Again, we're not trying to, be hostile towards the neighboring country. We're not trying to do that. But yeah. Go on, Mike.
My follow-up question is that, so Africans right now, like as I'm saying, like they might, like when you're talking about one Africa, we are talking about standing together. and especially in the times of crisis like what's going on right now. So
Yes.
my question is not even in a government level, but in a just personal level. Like, what do you think? Because you saying that I understand that letting you guys deal with your own conflicts. Of course, nobody can. I mean, in this moment, nobody can really interfere with what's going on inside, because Somali people, they know the best what is going on within their government, within their country. So they are on the right position for them to deal with that. But there are other sort of support and help that Africa and African countries, they can actually support and stand with Somalia. And especially when it comes to, yeah, I think I'm answering myself.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a good point, Michael. You answered, yeah.
I'm answering myself because when I was asking that question, I realized that, oh, so the moment for us to stand with Somalia is this moment when you see there's
Exactly.
international intervention, right? You see like US or these people are coming and trying to, you know, put pressure. Then it's a time for all Africa to come together and to be like, okay, we are standing with Somalia, all right?
Yes,
You're touching
yeah.
Somalia, you're touching us, you know?
Absolutely.
But so if we don't have this, let's say, hypothetically, let's say we don't have this, then of course, like, we have to leave the Somali people to handle their own issues. The best we can do is, you know, is cheer them up. That guys, we're here for whatever, you know, whatever you need. We're here. We're with you. We're standing with you, and wish all the best. Or we can pray for you. Definitely, we can do.
Yes.
Can do that. And yeah. Yeah, you can go ahead.
No, it's the point you made is, honestly, this sort of platform, and again, like, you know, sort of the social media, seeing a lot of, you know, for example, Ethiopian, a lot of Eritrean people and other Africans, you know, honestly saying we stand with Somalia. And the same thing that's happened a few months back, you know, when Ethiopia was, you know, fighting this group that was backed by America, you've seen a lot of East African bloc and other Africans saying we stand with Ethiopia because they're being undermined. And this is the sort of stuff that we need to see more of, right? Africans need to understand that this is their continent, right? No one can come in and dictate things for them. Stand with each other. So I urge a lot of African media, right, be it East or West or, you know, anywhere, talk about these issues. Don't let these international medias derive the narrative. You know, talk about it. Be it Ethiopia yesterday, today is Somalia, tomorrow it could be someone else, right? But if we don't, if, you know, united we stand, divided we fall, right? And that's the important. And Africans need to understand it. So yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot of things. As much as the issues, the turmoil in Somalia has been sort of worrying, but it has honestly warmed our hearts to see that we have other African brothers stand with us to say no more and stand with Somalia. And that's the kind of sort of things that I want to see in the future, and we hope to expect.
You know, we always say here in One Africa that unity, this is how unity looks like. Like, when Somalia are going through something, we should all be Somalis.
Yeah.
When Ethiopia is going through something, we should all be Ethiopians. That's how unity looks like. And think about this: if Africa stand together, you know, I tweeted something. I mean, I think it was yesterday morning, and I want to read for you guys because I was thinking about this over and over, and this is what came to my mind: that, you know, no matter what, Africans should always side with Africa. We can't think that we are better than other Africans, and we cannot compete against each other because we are all on the same page, all on the same team. Our competitors, our enemies are outside of Africa and not within. And the reason why I tweeted this, because, you know, sometimes the competition that we have, it reached the point even when we think that, they are our enemies. You know what I'm saying? They're our enemies. Maybe because of the history, because of this, that what happened, or they're enemies. If we stand with them, if we support them, then we are supporting our enemies. But it's for me, I call it is disgrace if you're an African and then you think the other African neighbor is your enemy. It's disgrace thinking like that. I know, I understand that there's a lot of history we have. There's a lot of things that we have been through. But thinking like that is disgrace, because it's like you're having enemies in your own home, in your own house. And you already know that you have a lot of enemies outside there. Like, everyone outside there is your enemy, and you're creating more enemies in your own house. What happens is it's going to be impossible to stand. But when Africa come together and we become Somali at this point, at this moment, what happens is it actually reduces the burden of Somali people fighting against Western, fighting against US, because you're coming together as one. You're like, you know what? We got you guys. We're going to stand with you. We're going to make sure that we raise our voice, and the whole world knows that they should take their hands off Somalia, right?
Absolutely.
And you guys, this can give you guys opportunity to actually focus on what's going on inside and try to do something inside, you know what I'm saying? But if you guys, you're the only one that, you know, are dealing with this, and then you still need to come inside and deal with the crisis that is happening inside. That's why we're spending years and years. We still have crisis in Africa, and we don't move forward. We're always fighting against, you know, European and American intervention, and we don't really deal with our own issues, because that's where all the energy goes, you know, at the end of the day.
No, absolutely. I mean, just the example, like you said, okay, these differences exist in Africa, but so does it into the rest of the world as well. I mean, let's look at recent history into Europe. Europe's had World War I and II. They destroyed each other, right? These countries, European countries that attacked each other, killed millions and millions of people. And today, they seem very strong and united. You know, you attack one European country, you know, the whole of Europe will attack you. So the issue is, although these differences exist in Africa as well, why could we also not move beyond that? You know, why could we also not be united? So, and this is the problem. I think the Europeans understand this. They see us as a threat. You know, the continent is one of the richest. If today, whole of Africa was secure and peaceful, we would take over the world. And this is why I think is these divisions, the Europeans, they're causing this kind of division between ourselves. And unfortunately, when you have sometimes people that want to look at the differences rather than what unites us, we're going to always keep seeing that division, right? Countries, borders, people having skirmishes, borders that have not been properly sorted, East versus West, you know, all these kind of differences between African nations, when all they have to say is, we have the same common enemy. We have the same issues. We had the same bloody history over the last 100 years, where we've all been colonized, subjugated, you know, some parts of Africa, you know, enslaved and sent abroad. So, like you said, I don't want to, you know, keep raising the same point that you made, but it's all about understanding what unites us more. There's more to that than what divides us.
Yes.
And if the European countries have done it, why can Africans not do it?
Well, you actually mentioned something that it's actually here. I wrote it already. Let me put it on the screen. That's really, it's really good point. This is what I said before. What divides us is nothing compared to what can unite us. Definitely.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's where we have to focus on. We have to focus on our similarities and all the differences that we have. Is the beauty, you know, in our continent and in our people. But it's refreshing, you know, seeing brothers from Ethiopia here, brother from different countries in Africa, talking about this, hashtagging about this and speaking about this. It's amazing. It's a time that the whole continent, should do that, should come together. Guys, I've shared the link in the comment section. You can come, you can join and raise your voice, and you can add to the point that we're talking about today. I asked to my Somali brother here and sister, and they've but Awa, did you finish sharing? I want you guys to come and to share as well your point of view as an African.
I didn't want to interrupt you guys.
What you can do to support. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but you guys brought up a lot of good points.
Thank you. Just to add a few things. I mean, what's been happening in Somalia is a tragedy for Africa. The Western Bloc to come in to claim that they're helping Somalia. One African should have been taking the lead. Because Somalis in Africa, they should have come in and taken the lead. And for AMISOM, that one of the things we talked about, the African Union mission to Somalia, is being funded by America. And it shouldn't be. Africans should say, listen, we're going to fund this. We're going to help our African brothers in order to settle this. Because this issue should have been settled a long time ago, 30 years ago. As soon as the government fell, Africans should have been getting involved in. America was the first country to send troops in, and we're going to keep saying these kind of things over and over again. When an African country falls, it's always the European, the Westerners that will come in and say, we want to help you. When it's about Africans that should be taking the lead in order to help.
I'm sorry, I muted her.
No, that's fine. So yeah, no, that's fine. So that's mainly it. So if you have any, Mike, if you have any question in terms of if you want me to elaborate more on what the current political impasse of Somalia is, feel free. I'm more than happy to indulge in that further a bit more. I know we talked about it yesterday, but if you want me to clarify anything more.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I want to appreciate for the super chat from Ghost. Appreciate. Thank you so much. For the giving, as well as Abdullahi Al Yusuf. I appreciate One Africa. Yes, that's it. One Africa. Yes. Well, Sami, you can go ahead and talk a little bit about that, because we might have new folks here today, so you can just go ahead and highlight a little bit.
No problem. One of the questions, I think either was yourself or I don't know, one of the brothers, I think Naji, they asked, for example, like what is causing this current political impasse? So to give you a brief history, so when the current president was elected, he appointed the Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khair and gave him the mandate to basically, by the time next election comes around, do one man one vote. Hassan Ali Khair didn't deliver that. He got removed by the parliament. This new prime minister, so there was a sort of a grazing period while the president was looking for a new prime minister. He appointed the deputy prime minister as the acting prime minister. A lot of the Western bloc, they start condemning and say, oh no, if the election is not being sort of agreed or set upon, violence will happen. So you could see in a way they was trying to instigate or sort of be hopeful to try to allow certain people to rise up and cause problems in Somalia. Honestly, one of the tweets that was put out by the ambassador, British ambassador to Somalia, she effectively tweeted out saying, now that the prime minister has been removed, we're worried for violence to break out. And you have to wonder yourself, why is the ambassador tweeting that out? Does she want that to happen? Either way, they wanted to dictate. They wanted to come in, the UK, US, and James Swan, who's representing the UN Security Council at that time. He wanted to sort of say, I want to mediate between the Somali leaders, right? That's what they always do. They want to have too many chefs in the kitchen, right? Where they call everyone a leader, a president, and that will create too much noise rather than having united voice. So what the president said was, you're not going to mediate between us. We are all Somalis. So he actually called the regional leaders, called them over to the capital, put them in a room and said, listen, we're not going to invite any outsiders. I want you guys to come with an agreement of how we should do the election. Whatever, if you guys all agree on an agreement, put it in front of me on a piece of paper, I will sign it. So they sat there for a few days. They come up with an agreement where they said, okay, you know what? One person, one vote is not going to happen for X, Y, Z reason. They all expressed their own sort of concerns. But they said, we're going to do sort of an indirect election, which means we're going to elect certain representatives from each region, then send it to the parliament. That agreement is known as the 17th of September agreement. The president signed it, all the local leaders signed it, and then obviously the international community had to sort of agree and accept that. You could see they were kind of reluctant because they were hoping for something else. When that agreement was signed, this new current prime minister, he wanted to reverse on that. You have number of candidates that want to become president who are not happy with the agreement. They want to reverse that. This is last year, the 17th September agreement of 2020. So he is causing issues in order to that agreement to be reversed. And one of the reasons the president wanted to sack the prime minister was for that reason. This is now what is causing the impasse. So there's going to be a further discussion to be had, but a lot of people are saying you cannot go and reverse the agreement. Hopefully, just to give you a bit of overview, so you have about 7 different regions or administrations. They're all meant to be sending the MPs and senators. So the first round, all these regions, they have completed their Senate candidates, which we're going to send to the capital. The next now is the MPs. That still is not complete yet. And that's where the current sort of agreement happens. So, there's accusation of saying, oh no, these people, certain candidates have not been sort of put forward, or, other ones, they've sort of bribed and, corruption. These are all things in the air. But once that gets sorted, then we can finally say we're moving towards an election. But this current prime minister, he is basically under the influence of certain presidential candidates who want to reverse that. This is not me picking side, but this is what the reality is for me to reflect on. If you search this anywhere, and I would urge any of the listeners or watchers to search what the current impasse is. This is what the situation is. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview, and hopefully, if all goes well, we can look forward to an election next year, early next year.
Okay.
I know you have a new one, so you can. Yeah, go on.
I want to ask this one more question, and then I will allow Tesfa Lidate to share as well. Sadeka raised a really good question. and I want you guys to answer the way you feel. How united do you feel the Somali diaspora is? And also, after that, you can answer, what is your comment on Ilham's?
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, Omar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The congresswoman.
Yeah, congresswoman. Yeah, that's fine. So the first part of your question is worth me pointing out. Somalis, I think, are the only people in Africa where they are the same ethnicities, the same religion, the same language. Unfortunately, tribal differences are being used to divide between us. So the diaspora, I'll be lying to you if I say to you they are united. Of course, people have their own sort of, view and, who they want to support and who they want to vote for or invest in. I think we have a problem in Somalis where there is a division within the Somalis, be it either back home or abroad. So to answer to your question, not much united, unfortunately.
I think it depends on like the age of the people. Like if you're older, I feel like you're more aligned with regional states rather when you're if you're younger, I feel like you're supporting the current government. That's what I got from like the diaspora community. So it really depends on your age. Like from what I understand, like from the people that I met.
Okay. I mean, if you there's a social media tools that you could use. Sometimes you can filter it through, and you can see a lot of young people. Somalia, by the way, 80% of the internet traffic in Somalia is through mobile phone usage, and that usually indicates, or it will tell you a picture where that means a lot of young people are using their mobile phone or laptops in order to access the internet, which would then translate to a lot of social media use. This is the reason I'm saying this. And yes, what I was said. There, you could draw a line to say where there's a overwhelming support towards the current government. So yes, in that regard, there is hope for people to say, listen, we want peace, and we think that this government are the ones that are most likely willing to deliver that.
And the majority are the young people, so we have to give
young
credit
people
to the
under the age of 30.
They're like they're like 70% or 80% of the population.
Yeah. As for the diaspora, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, in the UK itself, I don't think there is a union of diaspora. I think there's a bit of a division about that. I think Americans might be a bit better than us. Maybe Awa, she's from there. She can comment on that. But if I want to move to the second part of your question, Micah, about Ilhan
before
Omar.
You move that, before you move that, before you move to that, that's another small question. Why do you think? Why do you think you guys are divided? As you say, you have the same religion, you have the same language. What is the reason to that? I really want to know that.
I think we touched on this like yesterday a little bit. Remember how we said that when the government would dissolve, there's like all these militants who took over different regions, who then appointed themselves presidents of different regions. So basically, those regions are divided by your clan, for example. And so when people become really desperate and they have no system of government, they don't have any help from the outside, it's basically survival of the fittest, right? So you tend to align with your clan, and that in a way it was a good thing, and it was also a bad thing because it kind of brought peace quickly, because people didn't want the fighting, the civil war to continue. But also it brought about a generation like our mom's age and stuff where they really didn't see a way out. So they felt like they had to be, loyal to their clan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's where it all started. But I feel like people are seeing these people for what they are. They're seeing all the millions of dollars that they stole from their regions. They're seeing like how they are sending their kids to schools abroad and continuously not investing that money into the communities or so-called clans that they represent. Because I've been to Somalia. I went there in 2016. I went all over, and they were telling people before they dissolved the government, they were telling people, you have a dictator, he's going to kill you guys, blah, 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 right? But after the civil war happened, like pretty much everything that the so-called dictator left, is in use. Like the roads that he built, the hospitals that he built, they didn't add anything to it. They didn't reinvest. People back in the days in the 60s and 70s in Somalia, people had free education all the way to the PhD level. They had free health care. They had clean water. All these advancements that that a lot of our African countries are suffering from. Somalia had already resolved those issues, but when the civil war happened, all of that infrastructure was destroyed, and these so-called clan leaders and presidents of these regions didn't improve the infrastructure. They didn't add on to it. They just siphoned all that money off and just offshored it to offshore accounts so that their families and their children can live well. So I think people like slowly started to see that, and so that loyalty is kind of diminishing, especially for the younger people, from what I see. And you're right, like the U.S. Somalis are more like united, I would say, like the youth here.
Yeah, I mean, I think their voice is more sort of more together than I guess Europe and other parts. But one thing I do want to say to your question as well, Mike, I want to add to what I was said is a bit of a brief sort of history, or just to provide context. So once we gained independence, Somalia was very much united. Honestly, there wasn't any division between tribes. People lived different part of the country. What has happened is, and I'll send you a link about this as well, you can put on, a lot of the Western countries, especially the former colonies, they wanted to divide us, and they start empowering or funding certain divisions or people that felt disgruntled by that current government and said, listen, you guys should do something about it. And they kept funding them. So when you had different people that tried to rally their local tribes in order to dispose of the government. So you had initially the SNM, which was from the north, and then you have the SSDF, and then you have USC and other ones. They were being funded either by America, Italy, and Britain. And even sometimes, even these groups, when they, for example, the SNM, they had their, I think, first or second meeting in the UK. So why is the UK government allowing these groups to come and have a meeting, discussion with them? USC, one of the leaders, was being funded by the Italian, this article that I mentioned to you earlier. So when that happened, people picked up arms and they start killing each other. And that also created this division, this deep-seated division between different tribes. There are some people still holding on after 30 years later, which is quite actually crazy, because your average person was not involved with that. It was these warlords who took advantage of it and then gave other young people the guns to go and kill their fellow brothers and sisters. So this is the reason why division exists. We have been exploited by the West and sometimes even Arab countries in order to say, listen, you're not the same. But it's quite astonishing. I mean, think about it, right? We are people that have the same language, the same religion, the same ethnicity. We look like the same, How on earth are we're being divided by tribe? There are any country in the world, they have some issues, either different ethnicities or somehow different languages, but Somalia is not. But somehow there's more division between Somalis than other countries. So
I have to also say, like the different militants that they were funding, like the SNM in northern Somalia, for example. The people over there, they were telling them, hey, we don't, the government is rounding up your people, they're arresting you, spreading propaganda. In the beginning, it started off with propaganda, right? Before it became official arms, engagement. And so they were saying, they were telling people, hey, your people are being rounded, they're being imprisoned. So and during that time, there wasn't a lot of telecommunication, right? People were used to write letters to each other. And so, but the SNM group, their agenda was different. They were looking for power, right? It was a small group within the northern side of Somalia who are a minority of a minority, but they come from the same clan, but they wanted more power. So, once the government dissolved and they went back to their region in the north, then their agenda, their true agenda started to come out, and people were like shocked and surprised, you know. And so now, like, people are just saying, you know, all of this started out as propaganda, you know, people spreading rumors and lies and things like that, and then the arms and the fighting started afterward. So I agree with what somebody is saying. Like, when any country comes to your country, or when any people who are funding these militants come to your country, they don't first start off with weapons and fighting. They start off with spreading propaganda. They start to learn about, like, you know, the Italians had a lot of you know, secret service in Somalia, so they started learning about the different clans and their regions and all that good stuff. So that's how they started to recruit these people in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, what they did is they found fault lines, not legitimate, and they start whispering and start spreading misinformation. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still regurgitating that misinformation. But the point is that our mate, which is true, these people had no interest. All they were doing is they were jealous, and they would say, listen, I want to become president too. So when the government fell and the president fled the country, you would think they would come together and say, you know what, we might have disagreed with him, but we're going to implement a better system. No, they've not done that. They've actually caused more damage, and they start fighting amongst each other as well, which actually shows you they were actually themselves exploited by the Western Bloc. That we, to this day, we still don't have, and that is the sad truth. So to this day, the same groups are still being funded, are saying the same things, and the opposition that you see in Somalia, if you trace it back and you connect the dots, you will still see where the connection lies. So, you know, Micah, that is honestly one of the reasons that Somalis are still divided, although we shouldn't be, to answer your question.
Yeah. To that as well, before you answer that second question, I want to add something that I love so much how you put this. Because you gave from the point of, like, you gave actually the whole context of this issue that you guys are struggling right now, like where it came from and where it started. I think this will help a lot of people out there who has been asking this question for a while. So yeah, kudos to that. But as well, I want to say this. You know, I read this comment here that it's really sad. You know, it's really sad. It say Allah made us same people, same religion, same language, but colonialism divided us.
Absolutely.
You know, I felt really sad when I saw this comment, and you know, I just had one thought in my mind that I had, that this is what they did to us. This is what they did to Africa. This is what they did to any country out there, right? With all the beautiness that we have. But you know what? Guess what? We have a choice to make right now.
Yeah.
We have a choice to make right now. Africa, we have a choice to make right now, whether it's Ethiopia, Somalia, any country in Africa, Sudan, we have a choice to make. We can make that choice and it can happen. And the good example that I always share, I always mention about Tanzania. Tanzania, they made that choice. They made that choice. And it was during that time of colonialism. The Julius Kambarage Nyerere, he stood up and he said, you know what? I know we have 121 tribes. Guys, Tanzania, we have 121 different tribes. That's 121 different languages. Oh. Everybody has their own languages, 121. But what Nyerere said, he said, you know what? His philosophy, it was about unity, umoja na uhuru, like unity and freedom. And you know, there's so many things. There's Azimio Arusha Declaration and all those stuff. He's talking about Ujamaa, about this socialism and all this stuff. But the main point, this is what he said. He said, first of all, that's why you'll find a lot of Tanzanians, they are not speaking English. They're not good at English, except those people who went to school. But the reason why, it's because he said no to that language, first of all. And he said everybody must know Swahili language, because that is Tanzanian language. So everybody here in Tanzania, they speak one language, that is their tribe language, but also everybody speaks Swahili like 100%. So he managed to pull up 121 different tribes, different languages to be one thing. And now we have one country that tribalism, like, it's not a topic. It's not something that you find people are discussing about. It's not something that you find people are divided because of that. And mind you, it's 121 different tribes. Our neighbor Rwanda, you know, they went through a crazy experience, genocide, crazy experience. But for some reason, because of that, right now when you go to Rwanda, that's not the topic. So it might be on the other, on the other side of fear, that people, they know that, okay, if we bring this, we know what happened before. We know what they caused us, and this is what happened. We killed each other. 1 million people, it's a lot of people. All right. Yeah. But right now, it's not something that they even talk about because they know the consequences of that. Why I'm saying this? I'm saying this because I believe Africa, the rest of Africa, we have a choice to make, and it can happen. Because if Tanzania, they did it, if Rwanda, they did it, then Somalia can do it. Ethiopia can do it. Whatever, Nigeria, we're talking about Western Africa as well. Nigeria, they can do it, right? God, any other country in Africa, they can do it. And us, who we are here, we can make that choice first, that we have to say no more to that. Honestly, we have to say no more to that, because we cannot entertain this stuff, and we cannot let them divide us. And we cannot sit down, and always refer back. We have a choice to make it right now. And our wish and our hope is that even our governments, our leaders, this will be something. It will be something that will stand up. And in that, I think I have another question that I'm thinking. Do you think what is going on right now between the president and the prime minister, does it have anything that you think it might be also these things about, tribalism inside?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's actually the main fault line. Yeah. And
so they're coming from two different separate places, right?
Yeah. If you recall yesterday, after the war happened and the government fell, a system was imposed on the Somalis, right? A political system. And that was told us, like, you guys need to do this, how you need to govern. The system is called 4.5, I mentioned to you. So what they said with that is to say there are 4 main tribes, and then you got the half tribe, right? Which I also said is kind of also, very wrong to pretty much paint a group of people to say you're worth half. And also within there, they wrote a temporary constitution, which still is in fact to this day. It's been 15 years or something along that line. That should have been changed, but it's not being changed. And that's the constitution. It says that if the president happens to come from tribe A, the prime minister should only come from tribe B, and vice versa, right? So now you have a group of people, when the fault line still exists and still being exploited by, whoever, outside interest, who are then whispering things to say, oh, why are you taking command from this guy who happens to be from that tribe that caused this issue or that issue 30, 40 years ago? And this is why that problem exists now between the prime minister and the president. It's being exploited. That's really,
you can finish, brother.
No, that's all I want to say. Go ahead. So if you want to follow up, ask a question.
Yeah, that's really interesting point, because I didn't know that. Like, honestly, I didn't know that. But raising that, I think even for them doing that, maybe it was, they wanted to balance power, and they wanted, in a way, that, okay, if we have a president from this, region, then we need to have a prime minister from this region, maybe for everyone to feel like, okay, at least I have a representative, in the government. And who has power in Somalia? Is it president or prime minister?
Again, this is where the issue lies. That has not been defined yet, because again, we have a temporary constitution, right? Although right now it should be still clear enough. I mean, as I said, the president appoints a prime minister who then creates his cabinet. Obviously, if the president thinks the prime minister is not up to job, he can do something about it. And then there are people saying, no, he cannot for tribal reason. This is where now the issue lies. So there is no single authority or one voice that you could say, a group that has the power in Somalia. And that itself is the issue. The point I made earlier, which when you have too many chefs in the kitchen, too many people making the same noises. And this is what's being exploited. So that's why, one of the problems we have is we don't have that constitution that is complete. We don't have, for example, in the world, as you know, there are 3 different branches, right, of the government. You have the legislative branch, the executive, and judicial branch. We don't have the judicial branch, which is the one that is used in order to interpret what the constitution and the law means. That has not been set up. You got to wonder yourself, why has that not been created? Because now the constitution, anyone can change whatever they want. Anyone can oppose it. When the prime minister says, for example, the president cannot get rid of me, in fact, he needs to leave the Villa Somali, which is the office where the president sleeps, then you don't have the highest court in the country that could say no, either that is right or wrong. So there's not a single power or authority in Somalia that exists now. Everyone basically, the country still has a huge amount of weapon, you know, in the hands of the wrong people. And anytime people feel like, you know what, my tribe or my leader is not being respected, whatever, they want to rush to that and create problem. We have so-called MP, or, you know, as I mentioned, old people that are still telling us, if we don't get if my tribe doesn't get what they want, we're going to go back to 1991. There are people that are literally still saying it. These are
I think... Yeah, they're old men, but those men are the reason why we had those conflicts, right? They were the main warlords that still have power, right? So, like what someone said, the Constitution has to be like resolved as soon as this new government comes in. Like that's the #1 agenda that needs to be pushed. Because a lot of these people, like, you know, I don't feel like the Somali people are very forgiving. That's one thing, you know, that you know, one of our attributes is like forgiving people no matter how much they hurt you. And I think this is a very problematic issue in our culture as well. It's good to forgive people that has caused harm for the sake of you know, keeping the peace and moving on and keeping you know, love and brotherlyhood. But I feel like this is the #1 mistake that our parents have done, is to overlook these people, you know, because they become very brazen. They become very you know, out there, you know, like they have no fear of anything because they feel like people will constantly forgive them. And I think once the Constitution is established, there has to be laws within the country to condemn these people and to prosecute these types of people. There needs to be court proceedings. There needs to be like an investigation of all of the criminal stuff that they've done. And that's the only way we're going to move on from this. But if we constantly forgive these people and let them be part of society, it's going to be an issue. So I think like the youth have to be very aware of this cultural issue that we have, that our parents kind of you know, from generations on generations kind of passed down to us, this concept of forgiving people. But I don't think we should. I think that's one of our issues as well.
I mean, if I could just also point out, I mean, I understand the point I was trying to make, but I also want to add to that to say, I mean, genuine reconciliation, that discussion or that talk has been happening, and still there's room for it. I genuinely believe there's time you could say, listen, whatever happened in the past happened. Let's just move forward. These people, you know, every person in this earth will have to answer for their action at some point. If there are people, you know, what they've done in the past, I think if we keep going back and sort of, you know, trying to point blames, we will always end up in that circle. So at some point, you're going to have to say, listen, let's just cut loose. Does everyone want peace? Does everyone want progress and development? Let's just do with it. These people, get them out of power.
I understand we're summoned, but you then set up a precedent. Like right now with the whole issue with Bosaso, this guy knows that sorry.
Sorry, can you let him finish first?
No, I understand. Obviously, what I was trying to say, I hear the point about Bosaso thing is very good, so you will bring that up. But I still do want to stress the point. We're going to have to move on. These people, some of them have died already. Some of them are in their 70s, 80s. You know, even their children are right now, you know, the age of 60 and stuff like that. So at some point, we're going to have to move forward. If I look at, you know, if Europe destroyed themselves in a matter of 20 years between World War I and II, and now they have made this progress. You know, Germany, look at Germany. It has destroyed half of Europe already. And yet still people have forgiven them. And now they're part of, you know, one of the strongest economical country in Europe and in the world. So I feel like we have to say, let's do a proper reconciliation and also a forgiveness, because my brother Micah mentioned the point about Rwanda. That is itself a tragic story. I mean, I don't know how many millions have died, but in a very short space. And today, Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economy in Africa, because, you know, people have moved on. They've done reconciliation, they moved on. I think if we keep pointing fingers and we're going to keep saying this group have done this, that group has done that, it will always happening. Although I will take your point, Awa, that because reconciliation hasn't been done, and that's why things are still happening, which is, for example, Bosasa, which you will talk about shortly. Yes, that will still be a fault line, but we just have to find a sort of a middle ground to say, let's just cut our losses and move forward. So, but Hawa, go ahead.
No, I'm all for forgiving. I'm a very forgiving person. But what I'm saying is that you can't just forgive someone and let them continue on rhetoric, you know, continue on these types of rhetorics, saying, you know, for example, what they've been saying for the past couple of years. And also, you know, if you're going to push for a reconciliation, then they can't be a part of government or society. They just have to retire and disappear. Like they can't be in front of our faces 24/7. That's all I'm saying. Like people are very sick of them at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we have to also remember the country, 70% is youth, and most of them don't even remember what caused initially the civil war. As I said, these guys, they will die out. They're in their retirement, you know. It's just the echoes of just a group of people that are dying out now. So the future is bright. I think a lot of young people are now to say, listen, Somalis are now intermarrying each other. You know, all these different clan divisions that I mentioned earlier. Having saying that, but there's still people marrying each other. Like you mentioned, Micah, about Tanzania, people, it's not an issue anymore. Why? Because people are living among themselves, they're marrying among themselves, you have kids from different tribes. That shows you that's how to move forward, right? Rather than, you know, having plan A versus plan B.
Yeah.
And one point I want to add, sorry, you mentioned the leader earlier, the leader that, you know, that set that trend in Tanzania to say, you know, unite the whole thing. I think the word we're looking for is visionary leaders. We need that in not only Somalia, but also other parts of Africa as well.
Exactly.
So we need that visionary leader or leaders that could come in and say, listen, guys, you know, this is how the country is going to be governed. This is how things needs to be done, right? We currently believe the current president is that type of man that could at least have some sort of vision. He talks about it. And you could honestly, a lot of people are saying he seems a very genuine person as well. You know, he's someone that says what he believes in. I mean, the whole point of coming back to Somalia saying, you know, I don't need the American passport. I'm here amongst you. There's not a single word, anyone, even his enemies, that can claim that he's corrupt or, you know, he's doing, he's stealing lands or, you know, causing issue between clans. He's the one that went to the north and said, listen, whatever happened 30 something years ago was, you know, those people responsible either died or they're no longer in power. Let's just unite the country. And then you had people from the north, some of them saying, no, what happened 30 years ago, it's still somehow a fault line issue. But how could you do that? I want to stress this point, every single Somali, every single tribe has had people that died during that war. There's not a single tribe that haven't lost. We've affected, all Somalis have lost. That's one thing we have to remember. There was no winner that come out after the civil war. Look at our country, it's a total mess. So that's why I'm saying to you, at some point, we're going to have to cut our losses and say, let's just move forward, man. Let's not, you know, trying to find who was at fault and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do that another time. When history, you know, being taught, when it's the country safe, we can revisit and talk about it. But for now, the most immediate important thing is to say, moving forward.
I agree with you, you know, 100% with you, what you guys are saying. I love this comment, what Samira said. And the reason why I love you, I mean, what you guys are saying is that because I can see that our focus right now is actually within. We are actually discussing about issues that we are struggling, or we have been struggling for a long time within. And this point, I see, you know, I see a huge point in what she said here, Samira, and you pointed out as well, Same, that this is not just about Somalia, but this is about the whole, you know, continent of Africa and so many other countries there. You've spoken about visionary, and she's speaking about as well, you know, progressive leaders. This is something that I think it's a huge problem that we are facing, you know, in our countries, because honestly, like if we're gonna talk about colonialism, I would say this, man, we can't be stupid. we can't be stupid for people to come and tell you that, you know what, you have to hate this guy. You have to hate this guy because, you know, this guy, he's, you know, it's just, he's not coming from your tribe. This guy, no. They don't think good about you. And then I say, okay, I'm hating this guy. I'm hating, and then I start fighting with my neighbor. It's ridiculous, right? But that's pretty much, I mean, it's just a simple example, but is what happened back in the days when they were dividing us. So you find Africans, we have a lot of Africans right now that they trust in white skin more than black skin. They trust in, you know, Americans or, you know, Europeans more than they trust their neighbors or their own self. Like if it's an appointment, if it is something, they'll be like, no, you're an African, you're black skin, no. If the white skin speak, if we see white skin on the street, we think they have a lot of money. Most of them, they come to Africa because they're broke. They don't have anything, right? But when you see them, we go up to them, we ask them, hey, can you, like the mentality and how we see them and how we give them a chance, like we gave them a room to control us. We gave them a room to come. They came here, they saw everything that we had, right? And they gave a little bit of money to our leaders, to chief, you know, back in the days. And then they sold our countries. They sold our presses. And today you have people who are betrayers, right? They would rather collaborate with America or collaborate with the Europeans, but, you know, turn their back on their own neighbors or spying on their own neighbors. And that's what we are going through right now in Africa. This is the good point here, Hadija Mohammed. She says that before colonialism, they didn't have a friend at all. So they had to use power to colonialism, I believe. But today they have people that they call friend and can use to destroy us. And those people, you know, they're within our country. Some of them, they're in the government. Some of them, they're actually in the country. Some of them, they're living outside as well, who they're like, you know, they constantly use them to actually. So we cannot really, at the end of the day, that's why I was arguing you guys or us all to really focus on within and issues we're facing. Because at the end of the day, man, you know, it's just like devil. Devil, he don't make you to sin. He's just telling you that, hey, you see that is really good. Can you do that? And you're the one who makes the decision to go ahead and do it. At the end of it, you cannot blame devil. You made a decision to be used. You made a decision to open the door, and somebody come and took advantage of you. Now we know that, and we are aware of that, and we have knowledge because knowledge is power. We can use that actually to change what is happening. And for me, in this point, I see the rule of diaspora in Somalia right now. I think, first of all, knowledge. Knowledge is power. Without knowledge, man, people are perished, people are destroyed. One of the things that I really rely with diaspora, they have two, if it is, okay, we have two eyes already. They have like three eyes, right? If you're living in the States, you know, or some of you in the UK, you know how they operate. You're part of their system. You know their culture. You know their system. You know that, right? We know that. And also, you know your country. You know your culture. You know your system. You know what kind of ways that they use, you know, to undermine us. You know everything. You know all this, right? Because you've been exposed to all these different cultures. And maybe that's why your president is effective, because he was, you know, an American. So he understands how the world operates there. And now he's wanna, you know, work for his people and change the lives of people in his country. And so the role of diaspora here is really huge, because you guys, you can bridge in the gap, you know, to educate. But not only that, if you guys, you come back home and invest or open business, one thing that you can do, you know that we're divided because of this clan and that clan, then you can employ people from different clans, bringing them together. Let them work in the same project. There's so many things that we can actually do to bring our people back together, because diasporas, they actually have a really huge voice. When you come back home, people, they listen to you. Here, I don't know about your country, but here in my country, if you lived outside for a long time and you come back home, people, they actually listen to you. They pay attention to you when you speak. I just had a chance to speak with university student the other day. They gave me 10 minutes and I said, this is too little. I'm going to use 20 minutes. I used 20 minutes and nobody kicked me out of the stage. And I finished and they're like, hey, we're going to welcome you again to talk to us about Africa. You know, because of just that little diaspora mind that I have, from where I was living, for 9 years. But now I'm here. I know how they operate, know how they work, and I can actually share with my people and help them to make the better decision for themselves and for their community. So I think that's one of the things that you guys can do to actually unite, the country, to unite the people, because you guys have friends, you have people there, and you can affect them just by that. You start a business, you have a lot of people that you employ, you mix them all together. People that want to work, they need money, they're gonna be there. Instead of inviting foreigners and open the business or whatever, we can do it, and we can change all this stuff.
The point that you just made about, and this is why I feel very optimistic about Somalia's future. When you have the diaspora community that have lived in all these different countries, that can speak all these different languages, have gained all these invaluable experiences and knowledge. If these people all return to Somalia, I mean, I could honestly imagine Somalia can only improve, very strongly rebuild, because Somalis live everywhere, man. Not only just Europe and North America and Australia, but they also live in Asia. They live in the Middle East, other parts of Africa. Now imagine that wealth of knowledge and experiences, bringing back home. So that's why, and as you said, when you travel, it will open up your eyes. You will learn new things, right? And you coming back to your country, speaking to these students, tell them about your experiences, and that that is very invaluable, and that is very important to point out. And for us, for Somalis, the diaspora, and also let's not forget the local people, have a massive role to play in the future of the country, and I'm very optimistic about it. And just one last thing as well, the legacy of the imperialists that you mentioned, that unfortunately some African people that I don't want to pick on skin color, but somehow valuing the opinions or of the Europeans or the people coming from Western background.
Yeah.
That is the legacy of the imperialism, right? They've literally told us, who to respect more rather than your own people who look like you. Yeah. And one of the books that I read is, from a famous Kenyan writer, Pan-Africanist, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. I love, one of the things he talks about it. And one of his books I was reading, he was put in prison, and he talks about experience. And I was honestly shocked by this. Britain, when they colonized Kenya, one of the things they did was they wanted for people to forget their language. So they grabbed kids from different villages, put them in schools, and said, you're going to learn English, right? And they wanted for them to stop, not speak their local languages, because Kenya has different tribes and different ethnicities. So one of the ways that was so effective, that I'm still shocked is being used today, is they said to children, if you are caught speaking your local language, your dialect, that's not English, you have two options. You will either be punished, or you have until the end of today to go and find someone else that is also not speaking English, and then you're off the hook. So that incentivizes when someone is sort of caught to say, okay, I'm going to snitch and find someone else, right? And that in a way, for me, is the nutshell of how Africa is being dealt by the Western Bloc, using their own to go and sort of, incriminate someone else. Sometimes even create a scenario of like saying, speak other language. Oh, I caught him speaking not English. And apparently that system is still being used today in some schools in Kenya. I don't know what other African countries that have it. And Ngugi wa Thiong'o mentions as well, he said, look, imperialism is not only boots on the ground. You have to remember this. It's about changing your culture, your language, your mindset. And that is literally what's happening now. Our mindset now is whatever the Western have or do is superior to our, because we're effectively being colonized, right? Mentally. Yeah. And we're also speaking the language of our oppressors, if you think about it. Even we're changing our culture, how we deal, how we handle one another. So that's all I wanted to say, brother.
Appreciate. I want to bring in Tesfa Lidet, and then I didn't forget that question. We're going to come back to that question after Tesfa Lidet sharing.
Okay, thank you, Mika. I'll just take a very few minutes to point out some points I really was feeling are important. First of all, I would like to say how happy I am to meet such energized and passionate young fellas, African fellas, who are really passionate about the future of their continent. And as someone from Ethiopia, I speak from experience, from a very recent experience about, and I do relate with their frustration, because this is where our Ethiopian youth were, months back, and we were really frustrated. We were in the same place, listening to Western media, Western politicians, uh, talking about things that are not actually on the ground, and really smear, going on a smear campaign on our country, and it is really frustrating. And I just want to say that I have been really enlightened about the facts in the Somali politics from speeches from Awa and Warsame. And you guys need to do more about this, because most people who would side with you and rally with you are not actually well aware about the facts on the ground, because the only way for us to know about, to hear about Somalia is from the rigged Western media. So you need to correct the narratives. You need to do more in correcting such narratives. And I also relate with the problems of tribalism. What the problems tribalism pose to peace and stability. This is one of the challenges we Ethiopians face day in day out. But let me just focus on the most eminent trait uh, I feel is there for Somalia right now, because months back we Ethiopians were going on with our daily life. We're very supportive of our government. The prime minister had a popular support. He won the election by landslide, and we did not expect to be in this mess we are right now. But somehow war was pushed on us, and we were feeling very hopeless, uh, and really frustrated. And the threat is real, okay? The threat is very, very real. You might not see it now, but the distance they would go, the Westerners, I mean, would go to destabilize your country would really, really amaze you. You guys were talking about the media being biased early on, and I completely agree. The media is being used as a weapon of mass destabilization, and
Yes.
the way they
Mhm.
do this is by producing fake information, fake news, things that are actually not there. I don't know if you remember, Mika, but quite a while ago, they were reporting that Addis was in a siege,
Yeah.
while
Mhm.
the warriors are 300 and 400 kilometers away. They were talking about Addis Ababa, the capital, being under a siege, which is really laughable because I live in Addis, and there was really nothing going on. We were going on about our daily life, and they were talking about a siege. They will fail to
Mhm.
cover important stories. This is another way, to make it. They can, for example, they will not allow the world to hear about elections that you make, your popular support to your president, because this is what they did to us. What they did was they didn't even want to acknowledge that we voted for our prime minister, for our
So
government.
what
He
are we
won
gonna
by a
do?
landslide.
Tesla. Tesla.
So
I just want to
I'm
say,
coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Yeah, I want
I'm
you to
coming to that,
focus on
Mika.
that because this
Yeah, yeah,
what they did. We're talking about that all the time, and we need to start
yeah,
changing
yeah.
perspective. All right.
Yeah, I'm talking about this because I'm trying to build up my point, but I just quickly mention a few points and move on to what needs to be done. The other thing that they do is how Twitter is shutting down accounts. Dr. Simon account, a co-creator of the No More movement, was also shut down. Many social media, especially Twitter accounts, were being shut down. And also another important thing that you guys were also discussing about is how scholars could be, scholars of our own, like Somali scholars in UK, could be used as a tool for their means. So I think uh, even though the role of the diaspora is very critical, very crucial, what needs to be done, speaking from experience, is to bring the common people, the common Somali people, into the conversation. I've been seeing the hashtag Somali, hashtag Hands of Somali. I've been tweeting out last night and today also. And I've been seeing that it is trending. So it is a good thing, but you guys need to do more. And the way to do this is by bringing Somalis living in Somali, local Somalis, to join your conversation. I remember months back, Ethiopian activists, Twitter, people who had, many followers on Twitter were creating small videos on how to create Twitter accounts and on how to use hashtags, on how to tweet out messages. And they were creating challenges for us to, at least bring in additional 10 people onto Twitter, to ramp up, to galvanize the conversation. So I think this needs to be done. Even though the role of the diaspora is really important, really critical, I think without engaging local Somalis, it would be difficult to get that foundation that we want to build on. The other thing is, and the other thing is, when you're doing that, you should have to make sure to create a conversation space which can, which is wide enough to accommodate opposing ideas. I'm sorry, but both Awa and Warsami seem to, agree on most points. I don't know if it's because they're youth and they have, a common background, but I think it's better to bring people with opposite ideas to your conversation space and not focus on your difference and to use your voices together to get that message across. Show that you're united. Even people with different ideas need to come up together and show their unity when it comes to their country. I think that's also another important thing you guys need to do. And as diasporas, you guys have a lot on your shoulder in organizing and leading your people. And the other thing I believe you have to do, or it's better for you to consider, is getting Africans engaged, especially people from East Africa, Horn of Africa, and you need to lead us. You need to get the facts across clearly, because most of the things we don't really know. For example, you talk about the TPLF dominated government sending troops to Somalia. We were made to believe that Al-Shabaab was on our doorsteps and we need to send our soldiers to fight Al-Shabaab. We didn't know anything about the Somali people, what the Somali people were thinking about at that time. And we really supported that because our government, the TPLF at that time, dominated the government. They told us that Al-Shabaab is on our doorsteps. And if you don't communicate with us, if you don't get the message across, there is no real way for us to understand what's going on in Somalia right now, too. So you need to do that. And most of the tweets are using Somali, Afu Somali. I think it's better to include English also, at least translation, while you're screenshotting, while you're sharing videos. It's good to include the English subtitles so that we could be aware of the situation in Somalia. I say this because it is really, really important.
Wrap it up, this one.
Okay, am I taking too much time?
Yeah, please wrap it up. I have more people here that just joined, and I'm not gonna stay here the whole night.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is another important thing I think that needs to be done is to engage foreign journalists. I know this is an African problem; it requires African solutions. But let's
say foreign journalism.
Yeah.
You say foreign journalists?
Yeah. Not from mainstream media, but journalists like Jeff Pierce. I know you had a really nice conversation with Jeff Pierce the other day, Mika. He is one of historians, journalists who are really passionate about Ethiopia and who helped us a lot in getting messaged across in exposing some, I don't want to get into that, but it's really helpful because although this is an African problem and it requires us Africans in the forefront, but let's face it, we are weak. I quote Professor Lumumba when I say this, we are weak because we're divided, we are currently weak, and we need to change this. But up until then, we need to engage white folks who could be on our side and get our message across. I think this is also another very important point that helped Ethiopians in our fight, in our recent fight against the West. I think I took a lot of time. Sorry, Mika.
I just wanted to thank the brother for your comments. I think Ethiopia has been a really good model for everyone, all the countries who are, suffering from all these interventions. Ethiopia has really led the way, and I think for moving forward, this is going to be a movement of the youth. And yes, we have to be more. We have to increase our communication between each other's throughout Africa, so that we know what's going on the ground, and support each other. Also, I just want to say that, I grew up in America. A lot of the foreign policies in this country is not supported by, the people of the country. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of Americans don't know what the United States is doing in the Horn of Africa. All of the drone strikes and all of this intervention. They're not very aware of it because they don't follow the foreign policies of what their country is doing in every country. And so there's another avenue for us to educate the citizens of this country as well, or regardless of what country we are, to educate people about what are these foreign policies actually doing to these people and these countries. And the United States pushes a lot of democracy and human rights, but they're always violating these very values that they say they're that they adhere to. So I think that's also another way of spreading our communication as well to the masses and to other people of other ethnicities and countries.
Micah, just before, I know you got other people that joined in, but I just want to respond quickly to our brother as well. He mentioned, for example, which is a very good point, of the people of Ethiopia was misled at that time, which was a TPLF-dominated government, who basically made a case to say to them, oh, look, Al-Shabaab is on your doorstep, Ethiopia, we need to go in Somali right now and do something. And that, in a way, is a nutshell of the problem, where the other problem, other brother yesterday from Kenya, who also said, oh, I did not know the reason why Kenyan troops were sent to Somalia. And that is the problem, the misconception. And that's why I want the African media to step in order to, obviously educate the people. So, the TPLF government that time did not go into Somalia because they were afraid of Al-Shabaab coming to Ethiopia, but they went in there for political reason, right? And as a result, Somalis have suffered, and a lot of Somalis were not happy with that. I urge every single person, Somali or other Africans in here, from now on, please try to look beyond the issue, try to question things, and most importantly, do not rely on international Western media to tell you the picture. Go look beyond it. Even speak to someone from that region to say, can you give me further information, because you might know. And this is the reason, I guess, Michael created this platform, in order to ask people to say, can you tell me information about the issue, rather than me hearing it from Western media. That's what I want to say, Michael. Go ahead.
All right, that's really amazing. It's really amazing. Thank you, and I want to appreciate Tesfa for raising your voice. I really hope, I really wish people that were taking notes, because you gave really great suggestions, really amazing suggestions. So I really hope we'll take them into consideration, because it's really important. I think one of the things that we can learn, all Africans, we can learn what happened recently in Ethiopia and Eritrea. I think we can learn the oneness, the power of diaspora, how they came together and how they were united. They left their differences behind and they came together. Yes, I know, not everybody. I mean, I was still talking to my friends, people who they were like, kind of like, you know, getting away, and especially people that are coming from the war region, but not everybody, right? But one thing that we can learn, we can see how much they came together, and because of that, Africa, the entire continent, was awakening and seeing what is happening, and they're like, okay, this is definitely, there's definitely something there, right? And people coming together. So even in this situation, you guys are taking the leading position. Like Somali people, they're taking a leading position. And when you come together, right now we have here diaspora representative from you know, the UK and the United States. This is where we begin. Right? If we have this, if we begin to collect more people, we have a lot of Somali here. Some people, they're asking, oh, should we start something or something? Right? This is where, you know, we can actually start. And me personally, guys, I'm Somali as well. You know, I'm with you. Here in Tanzania, we have so many Somalis, man. So many Somalis. So many. Even one of the very popular, for me, I would say, even his #1 like actor, like when it comes to movies and dramas, this guy is originally from Somalia, but he is Tanzanian. Like we have a lot of Somalis that they have like Tanzanian passport, and they are here like for a long time, for ages, for years. That's how we've been living together for a long time. We basically won, and we basically won. You guys don't be surprised even later, you know, have somebody from Somalia. But anyways, like we already have that connection for, you know, for a very long time. And you know, I'm pretty sure that there are people who are out here who are like, you know, anything for Somalia. If those guys are gonna stand, if those guys are gonna say something, I will be with them, because I know how great, how good, how amazing these people are. We're living with them every single day. We have them in our street. You know, we have them in our houses, right? We're basically one. So if you guys, you actually set an example. Tesfa, he mentioned really an important thing. I think that will also, like, you know, tear up something like in other people, that I think this is something that, you know, we can actually, you know, stand and do something. But if we just stay and we're like, oh, this and this, this and that, then it's gonna be really hard, you know, to organize, and for other people as well to come and to join and to, you know, to support. But you guys are setting an amazing example. You guys who are here, and we have Ahmed here as well today. I'm gonna give him a chance as well to talk. But before that, I wanna share with you guys just a mission statement, a mission statement of you know, One Africa. And why I want to share this, because I think it's very I think you guys will understand why I'm talking about why we've always been talking about decolonize the mind, and why we should, you know, we should focus on the inside, on ourselves. Somebody commented, I love what she said. She said, it's on us. I saw that and I was like, okay, this is going to be the title of my speech one day. It's on us. Like, what is happening? What is going on? Where we are? It's on us. And we have to start seeing ourselves not just as a victim. We should stop victimizing ourselves, but we should start seeing ourselves as actually a source of what is happening. When you look like that, then, you know, our mind constantly is going to think about, okay, now we know the source of the problem, so how are we going to solve it? How are we going to deal with this on our own? On our own, because we can deal it on our own. One day I came here and I said that the reason why these guys, they always put their nose into our businesses, because we don't solve our issues. Right? We don't solve our issues. So they always come and act like, okay, we're coming to support you guys. We don't want this conflict to escalate in another level. So they will send all this UN, they will send all these like international organizations to come and to manage the damage, but they don't really manage. They actually cause it again. But it wouldn't happen if we will come together and actually solve them with ourselves. I don't know if I'm making point. I'm not just putting all the blame on us, but I'm saying I want us, like everybody who is listening here, to understand that we have to look into ourselves. So our mission statement, this is what it says. It says, defend the image and heritage of Africa, decolonize the mind through authentic knowledge, and create a bridge for oneness and a peaceful Africa. That's the mission statement of One Africa. I'll say it again. Defend the image and heritage of Africa, and then decolonize the mind through authentic knowledge and create a bridge for oneness and a peaceful Africa.
Absolutely.
One of these days, we'll come here and share with you guys the vision statement, the mission statement. We have everything. This is what we've been working on ever since we started this. And we're still working on every single day, having, you know, like, how can I say, separate meetings to work on this. But why? That's why. That's because that is where we want to focus on. We want to focus on ourselves that, okay, we got to decolonize the mind. We got to remember Africa before colonization, that we had actually Africa. We had our culture. We were one. We had our dignity. We had that thing. And we got to go back there. We got to head back there. And we have to decolonize all this stuff that are happening with us to get back to our true identity. Because God doesn't bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you really are. And we need to figure out who we really are by going back to our roots, by seeing who we really are, seeing all those our roots. I think that would be the first step towards change. I want to welcome Ahmed to raise his voice as well. We had him yesterday here, and I want us to focus on that, this solution. So as you're coming and sharing that, please focus on that. Ahmed, you can go ahead.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much for having me. So if I just want to quickly talk about the diaspora and their role and how they can, contribute to the empowerment of the Somali people in general. I think this is a very important topic, and it's actually quite a coincidence because, like, just earlier, a guy tweeted. I don't even know this guy, but he tweeted that he will be making a Twitter space soon for diaspora Somalis to better understand the politics of Somalia, the constitution, and the dynamics of the different actors. And he also added there seems to be a lack of understanding, especially in the diaspora community, as to how Somali politics operates. And this is not just the diaspora community, but in general, I think most non-Somalis find it even more difficult to understand Somali politics. And but in some ways, it's actually very easy to understand if you use certain tools to understand the kind of artificial antagonism that they're creating between the people. And the way the Somali people have been completely disenfranchised, you see that their struggle is not one about tribalism or these things that people talk about. Their struggle is one of a class struggle, and they are, and the Somali people in general in Somalia have been for a long time and had their had boots on their necks by certain henchmen using foreign imperialists to carry out their initiatives inside Somalia. So I've heard a lot about clanism and tribalism and these things, but this is a red herring. This is this is turning us away from the real problem. This is artificial antagonism. It doesn't even exist. Tribalism doesn't even exist in Somalia. If you talk about tribalism in Somalia, I go to Somalia very regularly, and I see a lot of changes. And my understanding is why people talk about these clans a lot and stuff like this in the diaspora a lot when they talk about the problems in Somalia. This is a very common topic that people do. And people think that this is the problem in Somalia. Oh, Somalis have a certain, deep-rooted problem between certain clans or whatever. And everyone's like, whoa, we don't want to get involved in this beef between Somali clans or whatever. But but this is not the truth. Even if you talk about this tribalism and this clanism, whatever, it's very local in Somalia. I mean, it's very, very, very local. It's like in city level, regional level. But there are a parasitic and elite political class that uses people's, inherent and identity and against them. How do they do this? And when you talk about the problem of clans, you have to understand it's institutional. Just like, for example, I see a lot of Ethiopians here. In Ethiopia, there is a constitution that uses ethnicity, and they say to solve multinational and federalism, as they call it in Ethiopia, for example, to solve a certain question and about different nations and nationalities. I'm using this example so people understand the situation in Somalia, okay? And I think it's even easier to understand in Ethiopia because it's more defined, you could say. But what these elites do in the Horn of Africa is they put people into different groups, and then use we call it hero in Somalia, like as in when you take when you're a pastoralist, you go out with your camels or whatever, and in the middle and the end of the day you come back and you put your camels into and your sheep or whatever, you put them into the barn, you could say. I don't know what is the word, but they are using people like cattle to kind of divert them and move them in whichever direction they want to get personal gains inside and the political system, and use them as a ladder to climb to their destination. And in the end, they leave these very same people that they use their name to say that they are helping them, but this is not the truth. They're not benefiting anyone. The actual reality is that they are using them. And the problem in Somalia is that common people today, there is no clan antagonism between people. People live door to door, next door and next door. And this idea exists in the diaspora because in 1991, this was the situation. This is the truth, that in 1991, the antagonism inside the country reached to a point where it became very tribalistic. You understand? And everyone that left the country in the 90s, early 90s, it still thinks, or they have this idea in their head that this tribalism is still an inherent thing in Somali politics. But this is not, or in the Somali people. But it's not the truth. The problem is that this tribalism is institutionalized into the constitution, and they have this system called the 4.5 system. People talked about it yesterday, into dividing people into 4 tribes and a half tribe. We don't even know what this half tribe is. This half tribe might be even more than the rest of the other tribes. But and no one has any figures for these kind of things. So it's a power sharing agreement between tribal groups, between groups that are using tribal names to gain power inside the country. And they have institutionalized this into a constitution. They literally copied and pasted the Ethiopian constitution, the multinational federalism, into Somalia, and they are using it perfectly to get what they want. But the people have woken up, and Farmajo, this is the thing about Farmajo as well. There is no such thing as clan or tribal backing for Farmajo. You could say Farmajo is the multinational person in Somalia. And why is it? Why are people supporting a president? You've heard all over the world, in Africa, for example, people are complaining about leaders. People complain about, dictators. So why is it that in Somalia you have the opposite? You have the whole complete political elite against the government or against the president, and the population supporting the president. Why is that? Because the people are fed up with these politicians that are dividing them. The people and their collective consciousness has risen, and they understand that all of this is for the benefit of a small minority of elites. So when we're talking about the problems in Somalia, please let's not talk about this tribalism and this clan structure. We have to talk about the institutional problems that are institutionalizing this clan system. The 4.5 and constitution.
We kind of touched on that in the beginning. We talked about how like the militants, they took over certain regions because of their clan alliance, and then they came back and put that into the temporary constitution that we currently have. It was all designed for them to kind of solidify their power so that they can stay in Somalia for a very long time. And you're right, people are fed up with it, and people are no longer interested in that, and that's why people are supporting the current president, because he's saying that I want to bring back the power to the people and let them decide who their political representatives will be. So we totally agree with what you're saying, and I think we also covered that in the beginning.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think it's great that and it has been touched on, because I've just noticed that in general, and when discussing these topics with the diaspora, and since the topic today is the diaspora, there is this divergence from the real issues, or lack of understanding of the real issues on the ground, I want people to research Kwame Anture and what he said about mobilization and organization. Like, and if people are divided in whatever categories or labels or whatever, it goes against the ability for them to mobilize. And mobilization is what these elites see as the biggest threat to maintaining the status quo. And what the people are tired of is the status quo. So, as the sister has said, there is a strong move or a strong youth and progressive youth movement inside Somalia that are saying no more to this divisionary tactics that these politicians are using, and imperialism itself. We could talk about the imperialists, but imperialism contains, not just the imperialists, but the agents of the imperialists. So until we deal with these agents that are dividing us, we cannot, move forward and get past the problems that we all share. The problems that we all share, which is, if we talk about the Horn of Africa, and we talk about Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Kenya, we talk about these countries, there's a large amount of people that are, in abject poverty. They don't have access to clean water. They don't have housing. They don't have basic necessities that they are entitled to. And these politicians have somehow managed to convince people that, just live on and struggle, and maybe you get better, like and they're diverting them that the system in place is what's putting them into this position, and the role of the diaspora is to educate themselves first and on imperialism and how it works, and how these politicians actually maneuver their tactics, and educate the local people and learn the Somali language so that they can communicate properly with the people to pass the message of what, because a lot of the diaspora, there's a lot of educated diaspora, but they don't and they find it a bit difficult to pass on what they are exactly thinking or their ideas to the local people. So there needs to be, this. I think we'll talk about it more, and that's what I'm gonna say so far.
Appreciate Ahmed. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Ahmed, were you here from the beginning today or not?
No, I wasn't. I came out slightly late, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's why. I appreciate Awa for bringing that up. Africa first. Yes, it's your turn now. I hope you know the topic and what we should focus on. You can go ahead.
Yes, yes. I was listening to you. It's a good conversation. What I want to talk about is as an African perspective. I want to talk about history because, back in the days, Somali and Ethiopians have war, I think, the Ogaden War. After that, the Somali state has suffered severe weakness because they can't continue as a state. We know that the Somaliland is a de facto state, also the Puntland. The main Somalia is almost in Al-Shabaab control now. Things are getting better. But what I wanted to say that as an Ethiopian, there are Somalis even in Ethiopia, the Ogaden region. If you ask any person from that region how they define their identity, they will say to you they are Somalis, not Ethiopians. All Ethiopians know that, but why they when you ask them why you are not so joined with the main Somaliland, they say to you because they are not strong, because there is a opportunity for them if they still be in Ethiopia. But if Somali is stronger one day, they always wish to reunion and make the greater Somalia. And the Ethiopian brothers will support them on this. I know they have tried with war, but if we can discuss in peace, maybe in a future, we can see the greater Somalia, I think. I know there are clan problems, there are problems with the government, but I think all can be solved with this topic. I think we haven't discussed. Maybe the other participants can say something about it.
Yeah, definitely. Africa First, thank you for your voice. So we had someone here, but she ran away. I hope you can come back. But well, I want to give you guys a chance to say your final statement because we're all here, and if there's anything that you wanna, say final statement, and
Yeah, I just
first of
wanted
all,
to
you guys-
reply to that Ethiopian brother. So as you know, with the Berlin conference, when Somalia was fighting with the British and the Italians on one side and the British on the other and the French on the other side, after the Berlin conference, a lot of the lands that the Somali people lived in was included into what is current day Ethiopia and current day Kenya, which was a design, it's designed to continue, violence in the region and clashes and ethnic issues. And so, having wars about these issues is not going to be a resolution for anybody. And I think it's for African people, whether it's the Somali people in Ethiopia or in the general Ethiopian government and the Somali government to resolve these issues. And I honestly believe that we could all, could live peacefully together and find a resolution for these issues. These are colonial issues, and we talked a little bit about it in the beginning of the program. And I think the way we're moving forward now with our current president, who's very much supporting of, peaceful Horn Africa, and current Prime Minister Dr. Abiy of Ethiopia, we see, the future is very bright if we continue to support each other and support each other's agendas and each other's countries. We can resolve these issues, no problem. If there's a referendum that is done, that the Ogaden region of Ethiopia decides to rejoin Somalia, that's okay and that's fair. I think the initial issue in front of us right now is to create peace in the region and unification and brotherhood, and to learn each other's cultures and understand each other's languages and things like of that nature, I think, moving forward.
Absolutely.
To add on.
That's fine. I just want to add just a few points. The brother from Ethiopia mentioned. It's worth pointing out that this is the first time we have seen anything that resembles something called Horn of Africa Alliance, where the leader of Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia have actually been cooperative friends, if you can use that word. And to me, that is a very important point to point out. This is the first time we've seen in countries in Horn of Africa working together rather than having animosity or war or anything between them. Obviously, you know the history between Eritrea and Ethiopia. Then you also know the history of Somalia and Ethiopia. But now you have these leaders coming together and trying to create some sort of alliance in a positive matter. And that is extremely hopeful. That's something very important to end on it, because obviously it's good for us to end on a hopeful note. And yeah, I'm learning from one another. And having these leaders that have visionary point to say, listen, it's time now for us to create some sort of a cooperation between these countries rather than seeing each other as enemies. Hopefully our brothers from Kenya can also join. Same thing for Djibouti. Rather than seeing us as, some sort of, Somalia needs to be a country that needs to be controlled, but more of an ally in order to create a strong East African bloc. And, that same thing extends to Tanzania and Uganda and I don't know what other countries of East Africa I'm forgetting right now, but that's honestly what the future is. And again, just to restate, Somalia has come a long way. We're not all about violence, terrorism, and all that kind of stuff. Although those things, some of them still exist. Al-Shabaab might have been strong at some point. They're still in the country, but they are still being defeated right now. And there is a end to this. Finally people can see an end to the tunnel. Hopefully with this government and even future governments that come in, because one thing that people need to remember, even, this goes to my Somali listeners right now. If you oppose the president, that's fine. That's your opinion. But remember, it's about the country. He can go tomorrow. He can go at some point. But your country will remain. Please support your country. Stand up when you see Western Bloc coming in and intermingling and telling you what to do. At least stand up for your country. Deal with your disagreement with your president and prime minister another time. And whatever system he implements now will only be helpful for the next president that will come in. So this government is working towards implementing a system that could help the next president come in place, and at least a road to progress. So we as Somalis are very helpful. It honestly makes me very happy to see a lot of young Somalis utilizing and making the voice very vocal. I would encourage on that. I will add 2 points to that, what they need to do. Please be as loud as you can on social media. Show these international organizations they cannot use our narrative against us. They cannot do that without us being here. Try to contact and try to mobilize yourself. Whatever country you live in, find the ambassador, the government, write letters, go demonstrations, stand up at the embassy, show them that we are no longer taking this issue. I've seen the Ethiopian brothers, when this whole thing has been happening over the years, where they carried out a lot of them. There's a large community of Ethiopian in the UK, and they were making this, noises heard. We need the same thing for Somali people. Wherever you are, show them who we are and stand up and make noise. And that could honestly make a difference, because if they thought we are divided and now we are showing them we are united and we are raising either on the virtual place and also in the real world, that could also be a catalyst that could bring a real change. And I want to end on that note, Mecca.
Sami, I want to ask one question. Somebody raised here in the comment section, and I wonder if you can respond to this. Senu is one of the members here in Swahili Nation. She said, with all due respect, Somalia needs to out their country first before religion. They feel they are closer to the Arab nation instead of the rest of Africa. How true is that statement, and how will you respond to that?
I mean, this is the issue again. I think one of the other brothers last night brought up where he said, "Oh, some Somalis, they, and I think that's not really true. Obviously, Somali, as I said,
was actually took up the Islamic religion more earlier than a lot of the Arab countries.
I was going to get to that. Yeah, so basically,
the Prophet went to Mecca and Medina.
We were one of the first people that would actually accepted Islam, more than a lot of our Arab countries. But what I want to get to, the point I want to get to is, obviously, Somalia is people that share one religion, and our religion is Islam, and Arabs are Muslims. So we have that connection with them. But Somalis, we are not Arabs. A lot of Somalis know that. So I think it's rather incorrect information to assume or make this allegation against us to say that we see ourselves more as Arabs than African. We are African, but we also share religion with a lot of Arabs. But we are Somali. Our ethnicity is Somali. We have a long history that even some people could argue even predates Arab themselves. So I want to really make that point clear. But I know there's a lot of noises sometimes people make on social media, and some people that claim they are this and that, but we are Somalis. We don't consider ourselves more Arab than African. That's not true. I hope that I make that point clear.
So, and people need to realize that Somalia has been an ancient trade route. So, of course, we had a lot of Arabs that visited Somalia and traded with Somalia. There are a minority group called what are they called again?
The Sharaf community.
Yeah, Sharafs. And so, yeah, you will find Somali people that live in Somalia who are Arab, originally from the Arabic country in Persia in ancient times. But the majority of the Somali people are Cushitic people. And so they are, original people that live.
Which is what Ethiopians are as well. They're Kushik. Which is what we share similarity with.
So would you say that Somali people, they consider themselves, not consider themselves, they are Africans, and that's how they see themselves?
Yes, Somalis are African. They're not Arabs. So let's make that absolutely clear.
We are African. We live at the African continent.
Okay, for all you guys who are out there, I'm saying this for these few comments that I see here. We had 3 Somalis here. They're speaking on behalf of them. You heard them. So please let's not assume. If it's something that you heard from someone, maybe it's your friend from Somalia, please share this link with them to come here and to express themselves. We'll always give them a chance to speak for themselves. All right, I appreciate for that. But also, please, can you reply to that first question I asked about the congresswoman in short?
So I'm sure Awa and Ahmed will also have something to say about it. So as for Ilhan Omar, I wanted to say again, this is someone, when she ran for Congress, a lot of Somalis were rooting for her all over the world. I'm not even American, and I was following her progress. And there's 2 reasons for that. One of them, representation, to see a Somali person doing that well, but also the hopeful side to say, listen, America, whether we like it or not, is the most powerful country in the world. Whatever they decide goes. People listen. Even the other Western countries do. So it was excitement to say we have one of our own now, potentially going into the Congress, and hopefully they could sort of influence and bring about positive policies that is geared towards Somalia. Those are the 2 main reasons. A lot of Somali people, including myself, were supporting for her. And when she won, honestly, there was, people were happy all over the world. We were welcome. I went to America a few times. I tried to even sort of meet her just to get a picture with her. That is, what we felt. Unfortunately, she has recently tweeted something out, and she has shown that, very disrespectful attitude towards Somalia. And even you wouldn't even expect that someone that's actually a native Somali to act that way. She tweeted out recently when the situation came about, the impasse between the president and the prime minister. She said, and the tweet she sent out is actually quite damning because her word tells where she stands on this. She said, Formaggio, she didn't say even President Formaggio. She said, Formaggio needs to now understand, and he needs to get out. Why is a congresswoman, an elected official in America, trying to influence and dictate what needs to happen in Somalia? I mean, she could have used that platform in a very positive manner, but she has not done that. Somalia has been going through all of those issues. She has not spoken about it. One of the issues I think Awa wanted to talk about earlier, Marif, she forgot about it, is there was a situation that happened in one of the cities called Bosaso. People actually were being killed. She has not spoken about that. There's other people killed, other parts of Somalia. She's not spoken about it. But the only time she felt she could use her platform and to express displeasure is to say Formaggio needs to go. And that shows you sort of, that unfortunately for some people still, that tribalism mindset still exists, number one. And number two, is she also allowing herself to be used by, I don't know, the Democratic Party, Biden, Blinken, in order for her to put pressure on Somalia and influence it. And it's a very unfortunate. So obviously now I think a lot of Somalis have seen, you should have seen the tweet that she sent. I encourage a lot of people, of your listeners and watchers, to go on her Twitter account. Her comment most was Somalis calling her out, condemning her, saying they're very disappointed. And to me, honestly, she put herself in a very nasty position.
Very bad situation.
Very bad situation, because now her biggest allies, her biggest group of people that always backed her, you have to understand, Ilhan Omar was being attacked constantly by the right wing in America, Donald Trump and all these people. Somali stood by her side. And now she has disrespected that group. Who has she got left? I wonder. So I encourage everyone to now say, people of Minnesota, please try to work on a candidate that can hopefully unseat her, that will be hopefully bring a positive change towards Somalia, because this is, we don't want our name to be used. We have seen a lot of
reason why she was the reason why she was voted in is because she ran on a progressive platform, and people in her district are very progressive Americans. They don't support foreign wars, and foreign.
I think our sister lost the connection.
Yeah.
So just to finish one final point on that, again, I just want to say the Somalis in Minnesota and America, I highly encourage you now to try to hopefully find a suitable candidate that can hopefully unseat Ilhan Omar, because we are done with people using our name at the beginning, the whole song of we are Somali, and then the when they get elected, turning that against us. So that's what I want to say about Ilhan. Michael.
All right. Okay, I appreciate it. Ahmed, what is your final thought as well?
Hello, hi, yes. I'm just gonna quickly touch on a few topics that have been spoken about, and then just summarize, and then very quickly, exactly.
All right.
I'm seeing a lot of talk about our Somalis and Arab, or like and African, and this. First of all, there are African Arabs. There are Black Arabs. So I don't even see this question. I think there's something deeper behind this question. I don't know what their issue is, but if they really if people have a problem with Arab, they can take it up with Arabs. Maybe people have problem with Saudi Arabia, or people have problem with Egypt, maybe, or but they can take it up. I think for Somalis there is no this or that. You don't have to choose, because we are both neighbors essentially, and we share and history, culture, and blood with and countries from Yemen, and even Tanzania from Madagascar to I used to live in Oman, by the way, and the Dhofar region is my tribe essentially, and lives in the Dhofar region, and a big part of the Dhofar region. So I could say I'm from Somalia. I can also say I'm from Oman. So I don't have an issue with both identities, and I don't think I have to choose. But my thing is, all these ethnicity and tribes and religion and gender and all these other things are just ways of dividing people and misdirecting them from the actual issue. I'm going to repeat this point. Misdirecting them from the actual issue, which is the abject poverty that our people are living in. People are talking about in Ethiopia and Somalia and this and war and this. The people in Ethiopia and Somalia live in almost identical situation. Even if Somalia was in a war for 30 years, maybe cities like Addis Ababa and like places are developed, and you could say and certain cities in Somalia, like for maybe Bosas or Garowe or like Hargeisa or something, like okay, these places have been peaceful for a long time, for like 30 years, so people are living quite well there. But what we are talking about is lifting the poor people and uniting them, because they are the vast majority of the region. they are the ones that are suffering from these and elitist, machinations and divide and rule tactics. They are the ones that are that live in such poverty and are facing all kinds of and brutality in their lives that's causing them to take up arms. So what we need to do is lift the people up from poverty. Our main enemy is poverty. If we wage a collective war on this one main enemy, that is what we need to and have our minds on. So all this and division between Somalia and Ethiopia, Somalia and Ethiopia, they are one. The border, I think everyone agrees. Like now, the Ethiopian brother was talking about the Somali region. This. So I'm going to say we have to all agree that the border is fake. So if the border is fake, well, we have to understand that we are one. Instead of saying we are different and like if there is no border between Somalia and Ethiopia, so what are you saying? There is border between Somalis and Oromos? No, there is no border between Somalis and Oromos. There is no border between Oromos and Sidamis. There is no border between in Kenya for example, between Somalis and Borana or Sakuya or any other group, and it's like that all over Africa. So these borders are artificial lines that Europeans have created to divide us. So when we talk about and when we base our conversations around these kind of narratives, it can create more problems that it can benefit. But and also, I was listening to a panel of Somalis from Ethiopia the other day talking. They were talking about confederation. So they were talking about confederation of the Horn of Africa, They're talking about, joining people in the Horn of Africa. And what is how can we get over these problems that the Europeans have created and to create antagonism between the brotherly people of the Horn of Africa? So they were saying that we need to, and there is Somalia, there is Ethiopia, there is Eritrea, there is Djibouti, there is Kenya, all of this, but whilst at the same time safeguarding and sovereignty, United Nations membership and stuff like this, at the same time abolishing the borders between us. First of all, you can't even control the border between Ethiopia and Somalia. Ethiopia shares the longest border with Somalia, so it's not even a border you can easily control. Neither Ethiopia nor Somali can control it. So, and the only people that can really control it are the local people at the locally. And it's the same thing between Kenya and Somalia. Instead of making it a divisive thing, why not say we bring the two countries together? Instead of talking in this in this kind of divisive, using this and the same kind of conversation that they gave to us to have, and we're still having it for 60 years. But okay, and for the diaspora, and it's important to educate yourselves on the local politics in Somalia first, and second, and there's no problem, and I think a lot of the diaspora, they visit Somalia quite often, but I would ask them to go to Somalia and find work or work in Somalia for some time, and through that you get to and understand how people think, and you can understand how to communicate with people, and that way you can share your ideas about development and what the issues really are, because as we've discussed, the issues are not between the people, but it's between certain elites. So this is something very important to talk about. And one last point is is about the intervention. And Ilhan Omar is just a tool of the imperialists, and this is an old tactic that the colonialists have been using. For example, France have been taking people from colonial the colonial possessions, for example, in Africa and in French Indochina, for example, and they would bring them to France and empower them over there, and kind of brainwash them with a certain what they call French values, and then use them as the local intervention units. So Ilhan Omar is just yes. So Ilhan Omar. Yeah, Ilhan Omar is just one of them, and this is the part of the intervention, and the intervention continues, and they are trying very hard. Just now, within the hour, and the Bureau of African Affairs again, and delegitimizing the government. They've released another tweet just now, and I'm asking everyone to go to Twitter or on Bureau of African Affairs. I'm going to actually copy the link here. I'm gonna just drop the link. And what they are essentially saying is there is no, they are undermining the president, and they are saying that the NCC meeting with the President Cole is not the correct meeting, so you should meet the Prime Minister and conclude the credible elections. And all the things that we talked about yesterday. So they are pushing
they're basically doing what they did to Abiy Ahmed.
Yes, yes.
But I just want
pulled
you guys
out
to know that Ilhan Omar is I just want to restate what about Ilhan is that she's a very careerist person. So she she's one of those, politicians that want power to and kind of get positions within the United States for her own benefit. I mean, she doesn't really care about anyone. I know her. So I don't want you guys to focus too much on her because she really doesn't have a voice in the Somali community. Nobody really takes her seriously anymore. She ran on a progressive platform, which, people supported because she was portraying herself as somebody who is against interventionist wars and things like that of that nature, but it was just rhetoric, and people realized that she was really wanted this career of being a politician in the US. If you could share that link, that would be great, Ahmed.
I've dropped it in the so people need to go and talk about
Ahmed. So the reason why I want you to conclude, it's because I was on the road today for 12 hours traveling.
No, I'm basically finished. Sorry. I'm finished.
Morning I have another trip to go. So please, let's wrap it up.
No, I am finished. Just go on Twitter, people, and tell them what you are really thinking, and tell them hands off Somalia, and no more with this intervention, because they are pushing harder. And they are checking our resolve, because yesterday and the day before, people objected very strongly to what they were saying, and now they think that the steam has died, and they are going to try even further to delegitimize the government and carry on with their old plans. So. And it's not over, and it has been ongoing for decades. So I want people from now on to be active and in saying no more, and it start by Ahmed, with them. Thank you very much.
I want to ask a question to Awa. Thank you. I just want to ask a quick question to Awa. I know we're running out of time. Since you're based in America, I know you said obviously Ilhan Omar doesn't have much. Can you elaborate in terms of like the Somali community, and also is there a chance that she could potentially lose her position or seat in the next election cycle? That question to Awa.
Somebody that, so she'll have somebody that runs against her, but it's up to the Somali people to mobilize.
Is there a chance?
And not give her. There is a chance, because a lot of the reason why she won her last election was because of the Somali people.
So there's two elections, isn't it? The general election and the local democratic election. So would someone have to run on the Democrat ticket to defeat her, or could someone run on a Republican ticket? And does that area has a chance to defeat her, basically?
Her region is secure. No Republican can win. It has to be a Democrat. It's a safe Democrat seat.
Okay. And are you seeing more sort of
we have to, the diaspora, whether it's Somali or any of the African diaspora, really have to think about like what political party you support. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Democratic Party is more interventionist, and they're more, they have more appetite for wars versus the Republican Party. But the Republican Party has their own, you know, racial and issues. They have a lot of racist politicians. So you know, it's kind of hard to choose. But I vote for like progressive people, whether they're independent or whether they are running in the Democratic Party. I look at their policies and what they're running on. You know, if they're running on the centric Democratic policies, I don't vote for them, because I know those people will vote for any war that's put on their plate. So we have to be very conscious of that as well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think people are sort of stuck, isn't it, in America, because obviously you're stuck between a hard and a rock place. So if you vote for progressive and it happen to be establishment Democrat, then obviously effectively helping them go and be interfering in other places. If you vote for Republican, well,
right,
you know what the issues are. So I think it's a difficult position to be in, isn't it?
I mean, the Republicans are not really, you know, as a citizen of this country, obviously I want what's best for the American people, but I also want what's best for, you know, the people in the third world who are being affected by these, you know, these diasporian policies. And so when you're looking at candidates, you have to look at them very closely. And right now in America, there's a push for a third party, because a lot of the people in the Democratic Party are sick of all these wars that they start. And so there's more momentum now for a third party on the far left, the Progressive Party. So we'll see where that goes.
Hopefully. Thank you.
all right. My sister, she mentioned something here that it's something that I've been talking about it all the time. I think I'm not gonna let that go. I need to point out that, and then we'll we'll move forward. You know, my sister pointed out, and I think this is something that I need to, I need, you know, like we need to bring out as many times as we can. You mentioned something about third ward, and I said, oh, we don't have third ward, and I want to pull up the little.
Well, that's what they call it, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, definitely, that's what they call. But for us, we should, you know, we should never believe that, because it's the same, you know, mindset that they're playing with us, to make us feel inferior, to make us feel lesser than them, and therefore to take advantage of us by coming and trying or saying that they want to help us. You know, I came up with these three different lies that, you know, Westerners, they always have in their mind about Africa, and it's something that you know, we should change our software. For all people who never seen this before or never heard me talking about this, I just want to put out here for you guys to remember this again. The first lie is there is developed countries and developing countries. You should get that out of your mind, because we only have developing countries, and that's the reason why those people who call themselves developed country are coming and exploit Africa. They want to develop themselves. They want to develop themselves. If they're developed, they shouldn't be doing that. They should focus on, you know, whatever that they have. They already got everything figured out on their own. But we are all developing country. We are all looking to develop our countries, taking advantage of each other. And for them, they have been doing that for so long, exploiting and developing themselves. First lie, remove that in your mind. Third world countries, first world countries, second world country is the same thing, right? Make you feel inferior, make you feel you're lesser than them, make you feel like you need support. The other day, like 2 days ago, I shared a video of this Kenyan lady. She's talking about, I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's this American. He went to, you know, Kenya, and then he was showing the house. He was showing the toilet, how the environment are dirty and are not clean. And then this lady, she pulled out some videos of, you know, America street. You know, in some streets that it looks, you know, it pretty much look worse than Africa. And it's like, oh, this Now this is America. I don't know if you guys have seen, but I had to show it there. These ideas of third world country, they have their own how can I say standards and how they think, they say, but it meant to dismantle us, to how can I say, to, that's why we're saying decolonize the mind, right? When we believe these things, you know, deep inside our heart, we believe that we are lesser than anyone else. And not only that, but some of us, you'll find a lot of people who they're wanting to run away from Africa because they think, you know, I want to go to the first world country. I don't like the life here. I don't like how we're living. I'm finding for a better life. Well, I've lived outside there, and you guys are living there. You can say, you can share with us here, like, you know, is life there better than Africa, than your own countries where you're coming from? Honestly, I lived outside for 9 years, and I came back home, you know, just 2 months ago, and I didn't miss anything about where I came from. You know, not because you know, like something annoyed me or something like that, but I came to realize that, you know, where I am right now, and that's Africa, where I'm living, it's much better than any other place I could ever imagine. I didn't think about that before. You know, I didn't think like that, but I had to go to witness, to live, and to come back to appreciate more where I'm coming from. Seeing how people are living, seeing how we are treating one another, seeing that I'm being treated like a human being, not like an animal. And this is home, right? This is the, so they call like third world countries, right? So there's only one world. Elon Musk will go to Mars soon, so maybe we'll have 2 words, but, you know, we have only 1 word. Forget about all these, you know, stupid classes. And the last point is, world is supporting Africa. That's what they've always been saying. That's what they've been doing, sending aid, sending, you know, all these donations. And some of our leaders, man, I was looking at the national debt where I am. Oh my goodness. It's, you know, it's even hard to talk about it, but you know, I came here with a lot of evidence, and I share with you guys that every single year Africa is losing 50 to 100 US billion dollars every single year, and that's the money that they actually calculate. But there's a lot of money that they are out of that picture, so it's basically more than that. 50 to 100 US billion dollar every single year Africa is losing, and the donations and aids that Africa is receiving is less than 50 billion. It's nothing. It's less than that. So they give you this, and then they take everything away from you, and that's what has been happening for years and years, every single year. So who is supporting the world? Who is sustaining the world? 40% of France electricity comes from, you know, Niger uranium. Who is supporting the world? And at the same time, in Niger, I say this all the time, 86% of people in Niger, they don't have electricity. But, you know, in France, they're using basically electricity from, you know, Niger, 40% of electricity there. Who is supporting the world? Is it Africa or them they're supporting Africa? All these things is twisted, and we can't believe us as an African. These are things we'll hear on the media, we'll hear on the Western media, we'll hear talking about all the time. We'll hear all these NGOs who are coming to say that we are coming to support you. We'll hear them talking about that. That's their say. We are going to support the developing countries. We are going to the third world countries. They have diseases there. Oh my goodness! And God is so good. God, He heard the cries of Africans, because right now, who is suffering with the whatever pandemic that is happening right now? Yes, people are suffering. I don't want to take that away from anyone else, but God is protecting Africa, man, because everybody believes that Africa is going to be erased from the picture. But we are here still standing. So I want to give God glory for that, because that is not by human power, but God Himself. He had to interfere that and to bring about healing to this continent, and that's what is happening. That's why I always tell you guys, keep God first. In whatever your religion you have, always keep God first. So these are things that we need to decolonize. We need to get out of our mind. You might not agree with me. That's fine. We don't have to agree in everything. We can agree to disagree, but these are things that, as I was sitting down and thinking, I realized that a lot of us, they are already in us. and we believe there's a better life out there. We believe that there's something that we are running after, like we are finding something there. And here is just a place to come to do safari, you know, and to visit and then to go back. No, man, life is here. Here is where life began. This is where the whole world is depending on. The whole eyes, Chinese, Americans, European, Russians, Germany, Australia, everybody, Japanese, even Koreans right now. They're coming here, running to Africa. So yeah, guys, it's a time to wake up and it's a time to decolonize our mind. You know, just like our mission statement says, again, this is the first time we actually show our mission statement. The first time, defend the image and heritage of Africa, decolonize the mind through authentic knowledge, and create a bridge for oneness and peaceful Africa. And, you know, to end this, I also want to point out, I think Senu's point is something that we shouldn't ignore, but at the same time, my thought, I think, is something that we shouldn't go to extreme. We have, you know, in Africa, we believe in God. We have different religions. We have, you know, Islam, we have Christianity, but we should never let these religions divide us.
Yes.
We should never let religion divide us, because that was the plan when they brought it to us. But we found God through those, even though people who came with those ideas and everything, they had another mind in their, I mean, they had another thought in their mind as they were bringing to us, right? But we took it with our open heart and we're like, oh, yes, yes, yes. And then we met God and now we believe in God, you believe in God. I can't say that you should stop doing that because, you know, this is a crap, is a piece of whatever. No, I can't say that because me personally, I found God through that. But what I can say is we should never let our religion, our differences divide us. I'm glad that I'm having a conversation with my brother from Somalia here. They're Islam, I'm a Christian. We're having this conversation. We are actually talking to one another, and this is how it should be. If you think this is not possible, it's possible because it's happening right now. I have here Walsame, I have here Ahmed, I have Walsame. What's up? We're going to keep in touch. And you guys, I hope this is not your last day because we really want to hear your side. Even when we come here, maybe we're talking about this country, we're talking about that country. We always need, you know, your side, you guys to come to share your side of your story, to give an example from your own nationalities, from your own backgrounds, to share. Like we need everybody to be involved, right? When we talk about Somalia, we need you, we need other countries as well. Like yesterday, so we had our brother from Nigeria, we had our brother from Kenya, we had our brother from Ethiopia. The same thing today, we had our brother from Ethiopia here. So next day, maybe we'll be talking about this country or about that. We really need your perspective. So I hope you guys are going to keep coming here. And whenever you come, don't hesitate to raise the point about your country. You can always do that because the topic we're talking about, you can always connect. And I want you guys to come to keep talking about that, to keep talking about that. Talk again and again until people, they understand and they hear that this is what I want to do. So this is your platform. This is your place. And please come and use it. I want you guys to come and use as much as you can. Yeah.
Micah,
I love you guys.
Yes, no, honestly, again, I want to thank you again. And yesterday I highlighted this point again, where I said you're onto something. You've created now something that is honestly very big, and you need to, you know, keep utilizing it. Hopefully, we'll keep contact. We've got each other's name, and again, let's keep the conversation going. I'm more than happy to always come on talking about, you know, other African-related issues. And on top of the point that you mentioned earlier, very quickly, you said decolonizing the mind, but I will also say the language as well. You know, you said earlier they're using things like third world countries, you know, they put themselves in first world countries, but it's the language also, as much as the mind, it's also the language. So like you said, we need to find back that narrative. You know, we are a developing country and Africa sustains the world. You know, that's sort of a mindset. If we change our language and mindset, we can sort of project how Africa needs to be portrayed to the rest of the world. And another thing I want to also add lastly as well is, unfortunately, the leaders in Africa, not just Somalia, but all the leaders in Africa, I think we have, you know, we could only, the best leaders in Africa so far has been the ones that go and beg for a share what they've already given away at the price of a broken tool. And that is the problem with Africa, right? So we need visionary leaders, so people to come forward and try to change that narrative. And once again, Micah, thank you very much. Last point, I want to thank everyone and yourself, not to use the term Somalian, which is wrong. It's Somali. So thank you very much for correcting that. So I've seen a lot of people in the comment section saying that. So thank you. It really normally I get very upset when people use the incorrect term Somalian. So it's Somali. So thank you.
It's Somali. When you're talking about Somalia, it's a country, right?
So Somalia is the country, but the language and the people are Somali.
It's
so there's no
Somali,
such there's no such thing called Somalian.
It's like Somali people. That's fine.
Yes,
right? But not. Yeah, I remember the people, they corrected me when I was doing reaction because I was always saying Somalians. It's good, and
I was one of those people screaming at the screen.
They're like, "How can you call yourself African? You don't even know Somali people."
No, it's all love. It's all love. You see, this is why we're sharing knowledge, getting to know one another and culture, and that's honestly. So yeah, keep going, Micah. Honestly,
I appreciate, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Osama. And my brother Ahmed. Ahmed, I love you, brother. And I hope this is not the last time, because I need you guys from Somalia. I need my Somali people. I know, when I stopped doing reaction, I lost a lot of my Somali people, but I need you guys back, because we have to talk about Somalia, and we have to bring all of us together in this table. So I appreciate you guys for coming and taking that initiative. It means a lot. And to Awa as well, I appreciate her voice. I hope Awa is gonna come back here again, every time.
Yeah, no, we thank you. I followed you on Twitter. I'm gonna send you a message, so and you can invite me anytime if you want to talk about just anything. Actually, I used to watch your channel way back when you used to do reaction videos to music videos, and
one of the people that ran away, right?
Bro, I still watch it. Like I think I'm not getting notifications much anymore, but I watched one some few days ago. I think you reacted to it. You were asking about some. I think he's a rapper, Somali rapper. He's not Lil Balil, but some other guy. But yeah, anyway. So I'm a big fan of your channel, and this conversation that we're having is very important to have to raise the collective consciousness of the people. I keep repeating this because this is what is missing from my perspective. Everyone has something to contribute. It's the diaspora. They have a very important role for, especially the ones that are in the beast of the belly, the imperialists, the ones that understand how they work. And is for them to come back and say, hey, we know how you are working, and we know what you are trying to do in our home countries, and we are not against you. We want you to work with us. We're not against America or Britain or like France or these countries. We want you to and respect us and work with us as equals. And don't antagonize us. Don't look down upon us. Don't try to create contradictions between us. And don't support this group and that group and fund this group and and do these things to divide us. And let's work together and to develop the collective health of our planet. And because there are bigger things that the world is facing right now. And let's not divide each other between these and as Africans between these fake borders. And let's actually, someone said this post-state vision. He said, there's and the nation state is something that came out of Europe. In Europe there is this thing called and English people, and there's German people, and then there's French people. These different ethnicities. But in Africa that doesn't work. Of course, in Somalia you have a different situation. But I'm just talking about like in general in Africa this doesn't work, and even for Somali it doesn't work because Somali for this same thing puts Somali in country and pits them against all of their neighbors. So and if we go past that and look and think about the post-state, Africa, and what and what the vision for the new Africa could be, and we can and envision a new thing, a new way of doing things, a new African way of doing things, and and solving our problems. This is the only way actually that we can compete with the rest of the world and on equal terms. If we come together as Africans. And not kind of allow these different categorization and labeling and these things that and elites use to divide us. So thank you very much for giving the platform to people and for helping people to raise awareness and I think a lot of people are very like amazed at this and this turnout and we want more of this for the African countries, and just in general let's just discuss different problems about poverty in Africa. What are the certain issues in Africa, because we don't kind of dive deep into the kind of struggles that African people are facing. I mean, and if there are a lot of people that are doing this, and you do this on your channel as well, but we are just saying more of this, so we have more scientific understanding of the issues, not kind of how do I call it, and skin level understanding. We see like tribalism. There's something more about this. There's resources that we are talking about in Africa. So all these other things. So, and thank you very much. And I want to end it there. Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate. I share the link and the private chat. That is our WhatsApp group. And if you guys you're here every time, please come. Whenever you can. We are doing this live stream every single day at 9 p.m. East African time, and everybody is welcome to join the conversation like this, to come and to raise their voice. And in that WhatsApp group, whenever we let's say we want to tackle something specific, or there's something like there's a breaking news happening in Somalia or something, we will always reach out to in the group and asking if there's anyone from Somalia and want to come and to say something about the current issues. But all in all, you guys continue to show up. I hope you do, so that we may continue to build our beautiful continent together with different perspective with everybody. In final say, I saw this tweet our brother Sadeke shared with us. I want to know
this is the one.
Yeah. I want to know, what do you think about this in less than a minute?
Direct intervention. They have their hands and all over the Somali and government, and they are saying that the president, sit down, the prime minister, you are our guy, do as we tell you, hold elections. So this is what it is, and this is a slap in the face of Somalis and Africans, and they don't have what is Bureau of African Affairs? We know colonial France had African they had an office like this. So this is the American colonial office. So we don't take anything from them. No more for this intervention.
Very quickly on that, this is the tweet I think we talked about yesterday as well. It's very interesting, and I want people to take note. They keep name dropping the prime minister, and there's a reason. So they've picked side, and this is their guy. This is the guy they need to go to. And again, they keep talking about irregularities within the election process. This is the people that are lecturing us for self-determination and so-called election. And yet when Somalis pick a side on they want to do things their own way, they come and say, oh, there's some irregularities. I mentioned earlier in the call, Micah, when I said the first prime minister that was appointed by President Farmajo, Hassan Ali Khair, when he was, the parliament called a vote of no confidence motion, right? And within 7 minutes, all the ministers at the parliament voted him to go. This was televised. Everyone could see it, and it's not a very complicated process. People were asked to put their hand up if they want to get rid of him. And yet still the Europeans and Americans come back and said, oh, no, there was some irregularities with that vote. So this is a tactic we have seen over and over happen again. So, and again, as my brother Ahmed pointed out, direct intervention, always willing to interfere with our affair. One very quick point, Mike, I'm very sorry about this. I want to point an issue of where a lot of Somalis were being known. I remember when Obama was president, John Kerry, he used to come to Somalia, right? One time he came and he summoned all the leaders of Somalia, the prime minister, the president, and all the regional leaders. And there's a picture of it. I will share it with you at some point. This picture was where John Kerry was sitting at the top of the table like he was the principal, and all the Somali leaders were sitting on one side. This is the image, what they wanted for Somalia to be and has been for a very long time. And this is what they're angry about. because this president has said for the first time ever that all these issues will be solved by Somalis first. You're not going to sit at the table while we discuss and solve our issues. So they have now effectively at war with the president, and they've picked a guy, which is the prime minister. Obviously, I don't want to keep accusing them of things, but I just want to point out, when these Westerners all pick one guy, that should tell you where it is. We know the same thing with Ethiopia. They've all backed all the TPLF groups. What does that tell you? While the rest of Ethiopia were against it. So I want to conclude with that point, Michael.
All right, I appreciate. Chala, we finished our conversation today and we are closing now. But Chala, we call him the father here. It has been a long time to see him. I don't know where he has been. So if I'm just gonna leave right now without letting him, because yesterday he came here and he wanted to ask you a question. He had one question, for you, and I told him that we are done, so please come tomorrow. But here he is today. I'll give him a chance. The father, we miss you here.
Yeah, I miss you guys too. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. Sorry, I'm trying to go back home next week, so I'm trying to finish up here. Kind of busy. I apologize. My apologies.
Oh, you're coming, man. That's good.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I've been a little bit sick too. That's why I didn't join you for the last few weeks. But I'm glad I'm doing okay. I've been listening to you guys and off and on. I know I'm aware of what's going on in Somalia and what is the United States trying to do in there as well. My question to my Somalian brothers and sisters living in the diaspora here in the United States, also in Europe, I think if we combined our, energy together, the Somalian community, the Eritrean and the Ethiopian community, we can disrupt the election in this country, especially the United States. If you take to the swing state in Minnesota, Georgia, Colorado, that some other state to swing state, they can go either way. How can we actually combine or mobilize our people to work together to actually change or shift American stand, toward Africa? I think we have that power. We just didn't work together.
Absolutely.
How can we, mobilize our community to work together for the same goal? I don't think we are utilizing our voting power in this country. How can we work on that? Is there any plan actually among the Somalians to actually utilize the power they have here in the United States? And also, how can we combine our community together to disrupt the election in this country?
I mean, sorry, go on, Micah.
Yeah,
I just want to say the next no more Rari, Somali people, they should come out with Somali flag, to say, no more, joining together and walk around the street of, Washington, D.C. and everywhere there together.
Absolutely.
Africans. And I hope all other Africans, Africans to go out as well with their national flag, no more Africa.
Yes. I mean, all I can tell you to the brother is honestly, that's now starting. It's happening. Somali people have joined the No More movement. We have seen what the brothers in Ethiopia have been doing. Eritrean brothers have joined in, and I mentioned earlier that sort of East Horn of Africa alliance. And the brother is absolutely right. We have not previously been connected. We have not worked together, although we have the same issues, whereas our countries are being sort of, influenced by these sort of America and Europe and, that sort of block. But I think now there's a change of momentum. It hasn't happened before, but there is. And brother, you ask, how can it happen? Well, social media, let's start off. People are raising the issue now. The other option is, you mentioned some cities. I'm not from America, but if you have a cities that, let's say, I know Minnesota, for example, it has a large Somali community, but there's also a Ethiopian community there. These people need to reach out to each other, these communities, sit down, hold town hall meetings, talk about your issues, go on the street when you're demonstrating to show the alliance. And lastly, as well, voting, right? Vote strategically, vote out certain people, because if the Somali group do something and the Ethiopian Eritrean do something else, our votes are divided. But once we put it together, once we strategize and say, let's vote certain people out because they're not serving our best interest, suddenly the politician will take note. Because right now, I'm assuming, I don't know the numbers, but Somalis, Eritrean, and Ethiopians are minority there, right? But if you put them together, hopefully it might be a significant number of percentage, because these politicians, all they look at is number in the day, the spreadsheet. That's when they pander to a certain group. So if they suddenly see a group of people that are working together, voting strategically, then they're going to have to come and talk to us. So, brother, I think that's now happening. It's starting. Let's carry on the normal movement, with Ethiopia and Somalia and Eritrea. And we want to ask all the other Africans as well to join and do that. So, yeah, absolutely. In the UK, where I'm from, that movement doesn't really exist, but I am aware of a large Eritrean and Ethiopian community. And hopefully we will reach out to them to try to do something about that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's something we have to work on it. We have to reach out to each other. I think we have a power. There's a lot of population living here in North America, but I don't think we utilize our force or our, power we have at a voting pool. So I think we have to use that. Thank you so much. I think we need to work, community to community and raise our voice together. Yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
I just want to say something about this combining of energies because I just want to say that for the Somali people, the Ethiopians have been an inspiration right now with the No More movement and how they've said and no to this blatant and plan of the US to intervene in the region. And I just want to say for Somalis, do not shy away from protesting, and do not shy. Like, I'm just going to be honest, as a Somali, we don't really protest. Like, this is not a thing in the political culture in Somalia for protesting and stuff like this, because at least for the last 30 years, the people have been disfranchised. Like, people are not allowed to and protest and these things and to come together and to voice their opinions. So it's very important for people to take inspiration from the Ethiopian brothers, and we need the Ethiopians and the Eritreans that are organizing and to give tips about how they do this and what kind of channels that they use to contact their representatives and like these kind of things, and kind of combine this energy and create a unified big shield against this and imperialist intervention. Like, and together we stand divided we fall. This is a fact. Like, this is not something anyone can really deny. So and thank you, brother, for mentioning this and talking about the combination of energies, and for the Ethiopian people and join the No More movement in Somalia right now. For the Somali people, if you have not already been part of the No More movement and in Ethiopia and Eritrea, join it. I know a lot of Somalis have already been sharing these messages because and they have shared interest, like at least on the regional level. And like I've said, the main enemy in the region is poverty, and people and these local elites and foreign agents and all of these are exasperating the problem of poverty in the region. So and thank you very much for mentioning this.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate, and I'm glad because we always talk about this as we are holding our banner and say no more. Let's say both: no more to pressure from outside, and also no more to inside. And just the fact today's conversation, guys, if you're joining right now, please go and watch this conversation. We have spoken a lot. We have touched the sensitive part, right? The issues in Somalia, things that we are where we are because of this and this and that. It's so good when we are honest with ourselves and we speak out, and we are seeking for a solution. We're seeking for something out. It's very, very important. And I want to appreciate these guys here, because I know it's not easy to come and to say that, my country has a problem and this is a problem. I know it's not easy. It's not. Nobody wants to speak bad about their country. Everybody think their country is amazing. Some people think their country is perfect, right? They don't have any issues. We all think that way. But you guys coming here and talking about issues that you guys are facing and that, oh, I think we can do better in this, in that, and that. That's the meaning of no more. That we can do better in this. So no more to poverty. So no more to corruption. No more to this and that. No more to that. Not just making about no more about this intervention. No, there's so many things inside that we need to say no more to. And that's the conversation that I had with Mr. Obang here. That's the conversation that I'm having with you guys today here. We had such a very productive conversation. That's where we're gonna focus on. That's where One Africa movement will always be focusing on, because we want to deal with what is here, within, and we can make a difference when we do that. So once again, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I hope you have a good day wherever.
Thank you so much. We love you too, Mike. Thank you. See you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Micah. Appreciate it.
Love.
All right, guys. All right. Thank you. All right. Oh. Well, all right, guys. I'm sorry if you felt like I was rushing, but yeah, this is the suggestion to my brother Mohammed here. I see Mohammed, he had a suggestion here. I appreciate all the suggestions. So let me see here. Let me read your suggestion as well. So Mohammed, he suggested here, he said, we'll just talk and talk and talk and go to our beds and sleep. Bring some agendas, visions, missions, and goals, and hit it in the pool's eye. You seem like really determined person. So, here's what you can do, right? And myself, I don't like talk, because, first of all, I had 12 hours traveling today on the road. I'm here home. Tomorrow morning, I'm bringing my mama to the hospital, and then I'm leaving again 12 hours to go to my city. And then after that, we'll see each other in Ethiopia, right? So personally, I don't like talk. The matter of fact, I just want to sleep right now, right? But we have to do this because it's the first way, it's the first stage, towards change. So what you can do to help, you see something is missing, it's very easy. oneafricaofficial@gmail.com. Write your proposal there, your agendas there, whatever that is in your mind, write it and send it to us. We'll sit down, we'll read them through, and we'll see them through. That's how actually a lot of great people are doing out there. I mentioned here at the beginning that you have no idea how many meetings we've been having already behind this, talking about what you're saying and writing and working on that. And the same thing right now, I'm preparing for, I'm just counting days. I'll be in Ethiopia soon for the launch of One Africa movement. So I've been having countless, nights without sleeping, right? Countless meetings. People, some of them you don't know, some of them you don't even know, but they're working really hard here. Always we have, private chat to talk, to discuss. Right now, as you're saying, a lot of things are coming together. They're almost there, but it's a lot of things. And the trip to Ethiopia, there's a lot of things that will be done there. 1 month, the whole month I'll be there. And there's so many programs, so many meetings, so many events, so many stuff every single day. There's something to be done for 1 month. So you can imagine how my life is going to be there, that I'm going to be that busy. And we have our brothers there as well. Chala will be coming. So hopefully, Chala, I'll see you there, Father. Yeah, so guys, I'm saying this, Mohammed, because I don't want you to think that we just talk and talk and talk and talk. This is the first step. We spend here 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours, sometimes 2 hours. That's what we spend here. But my life, 24 hours, 24/7, it's about this. This is just the time that I come to share ideas and talk to you guys. But 24/7, it's working on this, 24/7. I don't have any other job. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. Every single day, 24/7. All right? So, yeah, don't sit there and just assume that it's just talking. Yeah, I want you guys to acknowledge what is happening as well. There's a lot of people sacrificing a lot to work on this. Yeah, and they don't receive even a single dollar. All right. So yeah, we need to appreciate them. So again, I want to appreciate for those who gave super chat today. Let me shout their name. We have Senu here. Senu, she's the member. That means every single month she contributes something to the family. But not only that, she contributes the super chat as well. That means a lot. I appreciate, and I don't take that for granted. And again, guys, I want you guys to be free to share your opinion respectfully. I really want you guys to be free to share your opinion. And when someone share opinion, I don't want you guys to attack. I don't want you guys to be offended. No, if you're gonna be offended, we're not gonna talk about anything. We're not gonna solve anything. Because when you look at our history, when you look about everything in Africa, man, we can always be offended. I would say something about Kenya, they'll be offended. I'll say something about Tanzania, I'll be offended. I'll say something about Ethiopia, will be offended. We cannot entertain to be offended. We need to have this conversation. So when someone come and share something that you don't agree with, or you feel like it's very different, don't be offended. Just let's have a conversation. That's why we're having this conversation. Because I really want to encourage these kind of thoughts, different kind of thoughts. For example, Senu, she has always been very, opposite to a religion thing, right? It's something that me and her, we don't agree, but we're still having conversation. Right? I have my point of view. She has a point of view, but we still have a conversation. These are things that we can, sometimes we don't agree, but we can still have a conversation. And that's what we need in Africa. Yeah, so please, if you're coming to One Africa Forum, please try not to be offended. Even me, myself, I lose, but I lose because sometimes it's too difficult, but let's try. Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's try. And at the end of the day, everybody will be offended at some point. So I understand that. Yeah, so Sen, I appreciate that. Respectfully. That's very important. Respectfully. You have something you want to share, you think is very different, then respectfully. It'll be amazing for people who are listening, right? And also, Paul Boy Tracking, I appreciate for the super chat as well. It means a lot. Thank you for thinking that way. And here, this is my brother here. I can't mention this name. I don't know what he's saying, but I appreciate for that as well. I need to take time to do this. And there's someone here. I don't want to leave anyone behind. Okay, here. Masale, appreciate Masale. Masale. Oh yeah, by the way, I think I didn't mention about membership for a long time. Guys, membership, if you want to know, the option of membership is 2.99, 4.99, 24.99, 49.99, 99.99. So you can choose anything you want in a month, to support if you have that ability. Abdullahi, Alsu, and also the final one, it was, Ghost. So I appreciate you guys, and thank you for the members as well. Appreciate for that, guys. I couldn't be more grateful. All right, so I'll end up with a word of prayer for everything that has happened here. I'll end up with a word of prayer, and then I'll let you guys go. Yes, agreed. We need to be open-minded this, and only we can grow and learn. You know what, Sanu? Because of this, one day I want to pray with you here. You know what I'm saying? I want to pray with you here. I want to welcome you, Sanu, and say, Sanu, can you please close with a word of prayer? However you can pray. It's okay. Even if you say, thank God for today. That's enough. It's all right. And I cannot wait to meet you. All right. So I'll just raise a word of prayer, and I'll be getting out of here. God, thank you. We had such a long conversation with my brothers and sisters. Some of them, they came here and raised their point on the screen. Some of them, they wrote messages in the comment sections. Some of them, they just thought about something. But all in all, we had a successful day and a successful talk. What we want is unity in Africa, in our countries, from family to family, house to house, neighbors, country to country, and the entire continent of Africa. We are losing so much because of our division, and we want to say no more to that. So help us, God. But all in all, I bring Somalia in your hands. Somalia is your country, and Somali people are your people. They're Africans. We're all your people. Everybody in this world are your people. Do what pleases you, God. And I pray for the peace and stability of that nation. I pray, I believe, and I receive in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right, guys. Appreciate it, guys. All right. I don't know how to leave, but all right, guys, I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. You gave me so much energy today. I love you. And I love you guys so much. And for those who actually send me message about my mama and me, encouraging message, I know sometimes I don't read them. I mean, I don't reply to them, but I always read them. So I want to appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It means a lot to know that I have people who they care about me and my life. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. And for those who didn't subscribe, please go ahead and do so. All right, do ahead and do so. We want to hit 200,000 subscribers before January 5th. So help us reaching there. Mika, can you share your plan in Ethiopia? Connect Africa? Let me just say this. First of all, I'm coming very soon. I already say that I'll be there before my birthday. My birthday is January 5th. I'll be there before that. God willing, because God has his own plan. And I'm looking forward to take the COVID test very soon, to be ready for that, because Ethiopian Airlines, they don't allow. If they find you with something, then they're going to cancel. So God willing, right? God willing that everything is all right. And I'll be able to make it there. Yeah, I'll be there. So I'll be there before January 5th. That's what I can say. I'm not going to say the day. I'm not going to say where I will be. But, that's when I'll be. And I'll be there for the whole month. That means pretty much until, pretty much the same time, February 5th. But again, not going to say which date I'm going to leave. And so, okay. Right now, not yet. I cannot disclose yet. But one thing that I can say is we're going to have a big One Africa movement or One Africa launch, right? Because it will be the very first time to do it, like face to face. So we'll have that for the very first time. And everybody who is coming to Ethiopia, please come and join. You will have more information. What you can do right now, follow me on my social medias. Follow me on Instagram. I go by the name of Mika Chavala, the same name. So let me share here, because that's where I will share all these details, right? That's where I will share all these details, and I will show you what we'll be doing today, what we'll be doing another day, what we'll be doing that. So what you guys can do, yes, here, you can follow me on, this is my Instagram, Mika Chavala. So go ahead and do so. This is where I'll give my updates. I'm using story a lot. So and the story, that's where I will share a lot of things that are happening. So you can stay connected there. And I'll share everything that's going on there. So even that that event, which date is gonna be, I'll be there. I'll share with you guys that. But also the same name. If you go on Twitter, you find the same name. If you go on Facebook, you find the same name. I use the same name. Clubhouse, the same name, Mika Chavala, everywhere. So stay connected with my social medias, and that's where I will inform you guys. I'll inform you. Yes. One Africa. That's where I'll inform you guys. So It's good to see Eldana here. I tried to ignore you, but I can't. So it's good to see you. Hopefully gonna have session with you soon. So guys, follow me there, and you guys will know all the details. When I'm there, you'll know I am there. You will know it. You just know it, because I'll let you guys know through the story that I am here. And the first event that I'm gonna be having, I think the first one is gonna be, I don't know. According my team, my people told me that there'll be something with with my birthday, but I think the very first event, it will be the Christmas, January 7th. So I'll be there, but I'll be away before that, right before January 5th. So we'll have that, and then Epiphany, and then there's so many movements. I think, yeah, there's so many movements, but I cannot let you guys know exactly plans, because we'll go some places, we'll go here and there, and yes, so it'll be amazing. It'll be amazing. I want to stay there for like 90 days, but for the startup, I'll stay for 30 days. And then that's just the first place. Later on, we'll go to Somalia, we'll go to South Africa, we'll go to everywhere. This year, guys, I dedicated to that. We're going to go to so many cities, so many countries in Africa to talk about One Africa and to launch as well. So hopefully we'll have a lot of supporters. Hopefully we'll have a lot of sponsors as well, because when you go there, we need sponsors. We need people who can stand with us. Preparing these events are not easy, guys. We'll have this event. Imagine have this event in a hall, I believe, somewhere. I'll let you guys know through the story as well. I'm not saying anything right now because I guess I'm not allowed to say anything for now. But yeah, we'll let you guys know everything. And we are coming to your cities. We are coming to your countries. Yeah, so the best thing you can do, keep praying for us, praying for our trip to Ethiopia. Okay, we'll be there for that long, and it's going to be tiring. It's going to be exhausting. That's why these days you've seen me leaving the session for Ezra, because I need to save my energy before I go there. I'll have a very busy schedule, very busy, very, very busy. Yeah, I'll be speaking with a lot of people in a lot of events, so I need to save that energy. Yeah, so I'm excited. Yeah, so keep us in your prayer, and your country will come. The country will come, finger crossed. Depends on how many people want to see us there. So we'll come to your countries, your cities, and we're gonna need some sponsors, some people who will support our movements, so you can still, support anyhow you can. All right, we 100%, rely on Africa, and you guys will make it happen, because this is your own thing. You guys will make it happen, and I appreciate for making the trip to Ethiopia possible. That means a lot. All right, thank you. I really need to get out of here. Okay, I'm leaving, guys. Appreciate it. Good night, everybody, and I'll leave you here with the subscription page. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification button. You'll get all those. All right, guys. I love you.